Ipswich, and then up top Nathan Broadhead and George Hurst. Hurst, who scored an early penalty in the last round win at Coventry. That was inside 2 minutes. How Ipswich would love to have that sort of bright early start here today. Both teams in huddles, Forest fans holding their red and white scarves above their head. This is one of the high altars of English football, the City Ground, where the stories have been told, where the songs have been sung, where the legends have been made. And even the England coach Thomas Tuchel is here tonight to keep an eye on any English candidates, and I'm sure amongst them would be Callum Hudson-Odoi, starting on the left-hand side for Nottingham Forest tonight. But this is as pumped up as it can be for a proper FA Cup atmosphere, Clinton.
Yeah, you're right. You know what, Connor? He's probably come to watch Hudson-Odoi, Gibbs White, who's on the bench, and Liam Delap, who's on the bench.
Yes, exactly. Well, it could be a long night. Remember, same as all the other FA Cup games were underway, by the way. But if this is level at 90 minutes, it could be extra time. So those on the bench could well get more than just a brief cameo this evening. Nottingham Forest in their traditional red shirts, white shorts, red socks, playing from left to right as we look down. Ipswich in their traditional blue and white, and Forest have it at the back with Murillo and Morato. And back to Sells, whose early touch there invited George Hurst to sprint in on him. It forced a rush clearance, and Forest haven't gotten it away cleanly. This is Morsey, just outside the penalty area, plays it in towards the far post from where he was standing, and there's no teammate there, and it bounces out in a way in a goal kick to Nottingham Forest. Well, you know, we've all marvelled at the improvement of Forest this season, you know, unrecognisable to recent campaigns before this. And one of the big differences this season has been Nikola Milenkovic coming into the heart of defence. He has been the backbone of the team. They don't have him tonight.
No, they don't. Him and Murillo have formed a brilliant partnership. Murillo's been outstanding as well. I think a lot of top clubs, I'm not saying Forest are a big club as well, but I've been watching him to go and play at a higher level. I think the partnership's been brilliant. So it's a big game for Morata. He's played a few games this season, so we'll see how that partnership goes. But if I'm Hurst, I'm going to have a go at Morata.
Ola Aina plays it up towards Ilanga. This is now back to Ryan Yates. Forest for the first time getting a feel of the ball and putting a few first touch passes together. They are midway inside the Ipswich town half. Right-hand side of the field as Forest come forward. Sangare gets a touch back from Danilo. Danilo, a player I've always been impressed with when he's been fit. Here is Aina again on the right-hand side, short into the feet of Ryan Yates. No real pressure here from Ipswich. They're standing off Forest. They're allowing their opponents to have possession. Eventually Forest just run out of the play. Aina can't control. It goes out for a throw into Ipswich. It's 0-0 here on 5 Live in the FA Cup.
Yeah, it is. You can see that they were just having a spell, but Forest weren't really going in there. I know Ipswich weren't putting any pressure on them, but they've got to move the ball 1 and 2 touch. Elanga was on there, over here, making it congested.
30,000 in here tonight. As passes played back by Conor Townsend to the goalkeeper. And it was one of those back passes, which obviously is tame if it was a shot, but because it was on target, the crowd went, ooh, hang on a minute. That was played a little bit forcefully. The keeper, Palmer, did well with it, and Ipswich attacked on the
Conor,
right.
let me tell you something. It was a great touch. Conor Townsend, he fizzed it in at him, but he dealt with it, Palmer, and just played a great little ball left foot. If you're a goalkeeper now and you can't play with your feet at the back, you're not going to be a goalkeeper.
But one of those, first lessons when you're 6 or 7, you're learning football. Yeah. If you're giving a back pass, give it wide of the target.
Not on target.
Just in case. Don't give it on target. Certainly not if you're playing it that powerfully. Here is Conor Townsend again. Controls it well on the left-hand side. That's a really good cross-in flick-on header by Broadhead. Is saved by Matt Sells. That's the first attempt on target of the evening, and it's for Ipswich Town.
Yeah, it was a good ball from Morsey, a brilliant ball, and it was a good ball from Townsend. He just said half a yard whip it. Just wasn't enough pace on it, and Broadhead was unlucky. Comfortable save from Sells, but good start from Ipswich.
It's a good idea from Broadhead to try and just flick that on backwards from where he was facing. We heard Alistair Bruce-Ball singing his praises. You know, Broadhead, who hasn't been able to score at all this season, but he was joint top scorer for Ipswich last season along with Conor Chaplin as they came up from the Championship. So he does have goals in those boots and with that head. And Forest will need to keep an eye on him this evening as Luongo gets a touch of the midfield into Morsey with the captain's armband. He's near the centre circle, plays a little 1-2, gets it back again. Morsey, who's really summed up the hard work ethic of Ipswich Town this season. And of course they're disappointed to be in the bottom 3 in the Premier League, but no one has questioned the work rate that they've put in. Morsey here with a pass up towards Jack Taylor. Taylor, who got the late winner against Wolves in December. And And Ipswich hold on to it with Ben Johnson, the former West Ham player, on the right-hand side, back to Tuanzebe, and then Morsey to the near touchline, and Cameron Burgess with the insistent pressure there of Callum Hudson-Odoi cutting it out. Gets a throw in for Ipswich, bang on the halfway line. The two coaches are standing on the edges of their respective technical areas down below us. Kieran McKenna with searingly white trainers on. I mean, they are box fresh, Clinton. They've never been worn before.
I love box fresh, but they are proper box fresh.
You can smell the new leather from here.
You can. He's not stepping on that grass because they're getting muddy. He's in his little technical area.
Much more sporty type trainers for Nuno.
Yeah, Nuno. No, you can see his trainers have been on the mud quite a bit this season.
He has kicked a football with those trainers.
Definitely.
And I'll guarantee you, if the ball in the technical area, Kieran McKenna will not be kicking it here tonight, as Palmer's got to come out of his penalty area. That was the little ooh in the background there to just clear away a through ball that might have fallen for Yates had he not done so. Ipswich 0-0 at the moment away at the City Ground tonight on 5 Live. The winner of this one will go through to play Brighton in the quarter-finals. We know the lineup: Fulham playing Palace, Bournemouth, Manchester City, Preston against Villa are the other games. George Hurst with a flick on the edge of the penalty area for Ipswich, but Morato, well positioned, is able to clear the ball away. And now Awunye is using his bulk and weight to try and barge past Cameron Burgess, and Ipswich are going to have to keep eye on him. He is a battering ram when he wants to be Awunye, and he did really well there as Murillo tries to play a through ball, but Burgess, well positioned, is able to make the interception. Ipswich regain the ball, and they'll roll it back to the goalkeeper Palmer, and this time it's not as nervy a touch that he needs to take, and he's able to clear it away. 0-0 on 5 Live at BBC Sounds.
One thing I'll say is Palmer's gone in there and made a big difference. Too many times this season Muric was making he's cost Ipswich a lot of games this season, Muric has, so they had to bring in a goalkeeper who they trust at the moment, and since Palmer's gone in, I think he's been excellent.
Ipswich looking for their first win in 16 visits here to the City Ground. It's only the second time this century that Ipswich Town have made it to the 5th round of the FA Cup. They haven't been further than this stage than the 1990s, but such runs and records are there to be broken. There's some applause just going around the crowd at the moment. And this is a tribute that Forest fans are playing tonight to a supporter of those who sadly recently passed away, Sam Perkins, a courageous Forest fan who has died at the age of 43. He was battling motor neuron disease for the past 6 years, and with the game in the 6th minute here, the Forest fans are in unison applauding him, and it's a lovely moment. It's a reminder of, the really important part that football clubs play in community and in people's lives. And Sam Perkins, he made himself a very popular, well-known figure around the club as Forest come on the attack down the right-hand side. Anthony Elanga crossing towards Yates on the edge of the D. Morsey did enough to block his attempted shot, and Ipswich Town are able to clear the ball away. Yeah,
they are. This is what it's all about. You represent people, your fans and stuff like that. You show your respect and stuff like that. So yeah, sad news.
Elanga onto Yates. Yates definitely playing a more advanced role tonight. This is Sangare just outside the D. He fancies one from distance, cracks in a shot, but Morsey again throws his body in the way and makes the block. Forest remain on the attack down the right-hand side. The ball is rolled in low by Callum Hudson-Odoi, helped on by Aina. Sangare here. Forest beginning to work themselves into a groove. Ipswich have enjoyed plenty of early possession, but Forest on the attack almost incessantly now. Hudson-Odoi sends in the cross, which is deflected off Connor Townsend, and that goes out for the first quarter of the evening.
Yeah, he's been good this season, Hudson-Odoi. You can understand if Tuchel is coming to watch him, because I think all he can do is keep putting in performances, keep trying to score goals, but he looks really sharp. He looks like a man who's enjoying his football again.
This is an old Premier League tie, a full 15 league places between Forest third from top and Ipswich third from bottom. And it is Anthony Elanga who has placed the ball here to take the corner kick. Right-hand side of the pitch as Forest come forward. A hush descends over the City Ground. It's a great delivery in. Yates jumps, flicked off the top of his head. He just couldn't propel it towards the goal. And sprinting to keep the ball in play on the far side is Morata. He's done well. This is Alex Moreno. Infield to Ola Aina. Ipswich aren't pushing out here. They know this is coming straight back at them. Here it comes. Alex Moreno on loan from Aston Villa. Sends it into the penalty area. What a flick from Danilo. And then as he tries to get... In fact, that was Murillo who did the little flick there. What a brilliant touch that was as Forest must win a corner. I mean, he may be a central defender, but you need Brazilian DNA to attempt that sort of thing.
I was just going to say that, Conor. He must have been thinking it. Great minds think alike. I bet Conor thought, nah, that's Danilo because the centre-half can't do that. But Brazilian centre-halves can do anything. Alanga should have done better with the ball in.
Now, Lily, my eyes saw the number 5, and I said, no, that's got to be the number 8. It can't be the number 5. Here comes the corner, painted by Alanga. Headed just off target. So close to taking the lead for Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, it was Sangara. Sangara got their head on it. It's a great opportunity from Sangara. He gets there, and you know what, Conor? Someone has to lock out the back post. You should be having someone coming in. Awoniyi's just on his toes, waiting at the back post. He should be coming and anticipating that. It's a great little header from Sangari at the front.
Sangari, who assisted both Nottingham Forest goals in their last round win against Exeter. And looking for his first goal in any competition for Nottingham Forest, and he had a great leap in him there, and he's very unfortunate to put that just wide. That's been the best chance of the game. Broad-headed header, which was saved down the other end, but that was a more menacing attempt from Nottingham Forest. 0-0 this game remains at the City Ground at 5 Live and BBC Sounds as Luongo plays it to his right-hand side to the tall Luke Wolfenden. He comes over the halfway line. Ipswich playing from right to left as we look down in the blue shirts, white shorts, blue socks. Johnson gives it infield to Sam Morsey, back against Wolfenden. Good pressure applied by Ilanga there, and they hold on to possession to Ipswich just inside their own half, and eventually it's played back into the middle again to Wolfenden. Short ball to Morsey, and Ipswich have done well to hold on to possession here, and they can break into the Nottingham Forest territory. 10 minutes on the clock here, 0-0. Ball received by Nathan Broadhead, who's challenged from behind and tripped, and that's going to be a free kick to Ipswich midway inside Nottingham Forest territory.
Yeah, he just has to be patient there, Murillo. He's so eager to go and win the tackle, and Broadhead just shifts it, and it's a free kick now, and this is what Ipswich will want. Set pieces, the big centre-halves will go up, and they'll try and cause Forest problems with this set piece.
This is certainly an opportunity for Kieran McKenna's team. They'll push bodies forward as much as they can. Conor Townsend has come across from his left wing-back position to join Ben Johnson standing over the ball, so it'll be one of those that will send this in. Now, interestingly, Forest are holding a line outside the penalty area. There is a big gulf between them and the goalkeeper cells behind as Johnson floats it in over the top, looking to get it into that corridor of uncertainty.
He'll be offside when he touches it. There you go.
He is, yes.
He went so early before Johnson Hurst, and he should know that. I don't know why he's gone so early, and it was a poor ball in the end from Johnson anyway.
Yeah, George Hurst in an offside position. That is a free kick to Nottingham Forest. A reminder, lots of live football coming up over the next few days here on 5 Live. It's back into European action. Tomorrow we'll bring you both Aston Villa and Arsenal's Champions League games. Villa away at Bruges. That's a tea time game, 5:45. Full commentary on 5 Live at BBC Sounds. And later on tomorrow evening at 8 o'clock, Arsenal in action at PSV Eindhoven. So you can listen to both of those games tomorrow. On Wednesday, Liverpool play at Paris Saint-Germain. Again, full commentary here on 5 Live. And on Thursday, we'll be following the progress of Manchester United in the Europa League. It's a tea time kickoff in northern Spain. We'll be in San Sebastian on this network for Real Sociedad against Manchester United, and that's a competition that's become really important for Ruben Amorim now, because United, they're not going to finish high up the Premier League table to qualify for Europe. They're now out of the FA Cup. Winning the Europa League might be their only chance of being in Europe again next season.
That is their only chance, Conor, and the way they're playing at the moment, they could get knocked out in the next round. It's a hard opponent they're playing, so...
And here's a ball over the top, and it's going to run into the penalty. There was a hesitation there. Goalkeeper didn't come for it at all. And Luke Wolfenden, who waited and eventually, feeling the pressure, hooks it out for a corner. Crossed wires there between Palmer and Wolfenden, because it seemed to bounce a few times before either of them made the decision.
Centre-half just has to clear it. Can't wait for your goalkeeper. If your goalkeeper's not coming, Wolfenden, he's lucky because Awoniyi was on his blind side, and he done well in the end, Wolfenden, to clear it.
So it's another Nottingham Forest corner. They threatened with their last one of these. Sangare had the headed attempt. Packed penalty area waiting this one as the delivery comes in swinging but low, and met by a whole host of bodies at the front post, and eventually hooked away by Sam Morsey. There's no one forward for Ipswich, so Ola Aina has all the time in the world to take this down, to swivel around and play a short pass to Alex Moreno on the left-hand side. And Moreno, who also started the last round of the FA Cup at Exeter, he gives it back to the Belgian Matt Sells, and he launches it long down the pitch, looking for Elanga on the left-hand side. Good jump by Ben Johnson, and Ipswich regained possession. Poor pass though by Mawson. Shows too much of it to Sangare, who was able to slide in and win possession back for Nottingham Forest, who have it on the right-hand side. Callum Hudson-Odoi, edge of the penalty area, hooks in across, looking for Elanga on the far side. Johnson made the block, fallen down to Moreno, and he hit it well, but it was just too high. It was tipping, but not quickly enough, and over the top it goes for a goal kick. Decent though from Nottingham Forest, still 0-0.
Yeah, I think Forest have been the better team. Ipswich are struggling to get hold of the ball in the attacking areas. It's been a struggle for Broadhead and Hurst to hold the ball up. It's a great strike from Moreno, but it was always leaning back and going over Palmer's goal.
There is no Chris Wood tonight. He is on the substitutes bench. 8 goals in his last 9 Premier League games. Chris Wood, who earlier in his career had a loan spell at Ipswich, so he's got a connection to tonight's opponents. Remarkably, given what he's got on to achieve, when he went on loan to them, second half of the 14-15 campaign 10 years ago, Chris Wood didn't score at all in Ipswich colours. You think almost, how is that possible?
Yeah, with the season that he's had, but this season's been one of the best, if not the best season of his career.
It's been magnificent, as Townsend, barging his way down the left wing, was hoping to win a free kick there up against Ryan Yates, the battle of the 2 number 22s, but the referee has said no, there was no foul by Yates, and it's possession for Nottingham Forest. So quarter of an hour in, still 0-0. Reminder, if it was to be level after 90 minutes, it's extra time tonight, and there would also be penalties if required, as we've already seen as a couple of these fifth round games already. Throw in for Forest, right full-back position. Ola Aina to take. Flicked on by Yates. And the attempt from Hudson-Odoi to keep it in play brushes off Cameron Burgess, so it's another throw into Forest, but this time much closer to the halfway line. And Nuno Espirito Santo plays ball boy, picks up the ball, gives it to Ola Aina, and then in a very sort of almost school teacher-like way, Nuno Espirito Santo spotted that there was a wrapper, one of those little energy gels or I don't know, granola bar or something, and he's picked it up, but that shouldn't be there, and he's thrown it to the side back into the dugout. He likes a clean technical area.
Yeah, he's like a headmaster.
Yeah.
I think he would have been telling me off every day at school, to be fair, but I probably would have listened to it.
In your school days, Clinton, I'd imagine you were sort of on the wrong side of the law a few times.
I was
with
always
the
outside the headmaster's office, but our headmaster was the head of referees back in the day, Philip Don, so he used to let me off.
He knew you were a player.
Yeah, he knew I had half a chance.
Did he give you the speech that, Mr. Morrison, you cannot rely on being a professional
that's what
football.
He said. You've got to do your education.
You need other options. and by the way, for any youngsters listening, he's dead right, as Callum Hudson-Odoi attacks down the right-hand side and gets a free kick for his team, a yellow card too for Ipswich there. A free kick to Forest in what is a crossing position on the right-hand side. Hudson-Odoi, who just dropped a shoulder, tried to break his way into the penalty area, and he was taken down by Luongo, who's been shown the yellow card, Massimo Luongo.
Yeah, he knows he catches him. Listen, I know what Luongo's thing is, it's his first one, but once Hudson-Odoi is running at you like that, I think he just catches his ankle. He's all right, though. He'll get up, but he started the game ever so well on the right side. He just looks like a player that's full of confidence again.
Ipswich, 3 games ago, they were down to 10 men inside the first half against Aston Villa. That feels imperative they keep the full 11 on the pitch here for the full duration tonight. But Luongo, the first player to go into the referee's notebook. Referee tonight, by the way, is Tony Harrington, assisted by Wade Smith and Sean Massey-Ellis on the far side. So free kick to Forest. Anthony Elanga, who was featured in every game, in every competition for Forest this season. It's going to be a short run-up. Can he pick out the forehead of one of his teammates here as Forest look to take the lead in this FA Cup fifth round tie? Here comes great delivery and punch by Palmer, diving out towards the players rushing towards him. Brave goalkeeping, and he punches it out for a throw on the far side. Still 0-0.
Brilliant goalkeeping. He's getting into an array of bodies. It's a good ball in from Elanga, and you're thinking, can someone get on the end of it? But it's really good, determined goalkeeping from Alex Palmer. He's brave. He could have got kicked or headed in there, but he's done ever so well.
So throw in to the home side, Nottingham Forest, far side of the pitch from us. Alex Moreno takes it, good throw into the penalty area, controlled well by Awoniyi. Very little room to manoeuvre, but he nearly smuggled a pass through there. Ola Aina gets it on the edge of the penalty area, loses his footing as he tries to play it forward, and it technically looks like a shot, but you couldn't describe it as that, as it goes tame and wide of the target. And a goal kick for Alex Palmer, wearing all bright yellow, away to our right hand side. Behind him, all the travelling Ipswich fans, larger allocation than a regular Premier League game, and how they would love their team to break the deadlock, but scoreless for the moment.
It is, and you're thinking, how are Ipswich going to get out? Because the two wing backs are going to be crucial. Ben Johnson is not a wing back, he's a right back, so it's difficult for him when he's getting forward, and so is Townsend. That's where you miss the likes of probably Leif Davis and Burns, who's been injured as well.
This is Wolfenden inside his own penalty area. That's a really dicey back pass. What are Ipswich doing here? Luongo gets them out of jail. It was almost gifted to Sangare. Wolfenden played a soft pass and it seemed to really unsettle Palmer, and he played a dreadful ball straight to Sangare. And were it not for the intervention of Massimo Luongo, Forest surely would have taken the lead there. That's a let-off for Kieran McKenna's team.
I'm all for playing out from the back corner, but you got to do it in sensible areas, and Palmer weren't sensible there. Kieran McKenna's just put his hand to his head and said, be sensible, because in that area, go long. You don't need to put any of your players. It starts from Wolfenden. I'm all for it, and I know it's the modern game, but be sensible. You don't want to concede a goal like that.
In the last round there were two very early goals in Ipswich's game against Coventry. That game was 1-1 after 8 minutes. This one is more of a battle here with Morsey. Battle to open the scoring, that is. Morsey takes it over the halfway line slowly.
You see where it is, sorry to interrupt you, Connor. When they get to these areas, they don't look like they have any ideas. They don't have enough movement in front to go and cause problems.
Ipswich hoping that this relief of playing the cup competition can maybe spring them from some bad habits in the Premier League, but that's been given away by Wolfenden. He's not had a good last 2 minutes here. A couple of careless balls. Mind you, it's difficult against Forest, who are so incessant, who are so in your face and pressurising you all the time. You don't get any breathing space as a visiting player here at the City Ground.
No, they set traps. They're the hardest working team, and in the Premier League they're the team that don't have the ball the most. But you know what, they don't mind having that corner because they like to just play on the counter-attack.
Yeah, they punish you when you have the ball. They unsettle you and force you to make mistakes, and it's brought great success for Nuno Espirito Santo all season. So Murillo here launches it forward towards the edge of the Ipswich Town penalty area. Connor Townsend wins the header, but he's given it straight to Ola Aina. Forest with possession on the halfway line. Ola Aina, who's had a very good campaign. I'm sure when it comes to team of the seasons, he will be right up there in terms of the best right back.
And you know what, he's out of contract as well, so Forest need to get him tied down because a lot of teams will be looking at him. I think he's been outstanding.
Good as they've been, Forest, he's been the only outfielder that has started every Premier League game this season. This is Morato at the back, and he launches it long to Nzebe with the header down for Ipswich, but it's going to come straight back at him here. Clever backheel by Elanga. That was a good idea, but he wasn't able to pick out Alex Moreno. Ipswich regained possession, but they're still inside their own half, and they're going to lose it here. That time it was given away by Jack Taylor. Moreno pushes it to the byline ahead of Elanga. This needs to be a good cross. Delivered in. Stretching was Wolfenden. Good interception. Ipswich get it back again inside their own penalty area. Now they have to try and run it out from here, but that transition between their own final third and getting it up towards the attacking third, that's proving to be full of labour for Ipswich here. It's not a smooth transition at all at the moment, but they do work their way up to the halfway line.
You're right, Connor. It's very slow. They get to this area and then they go back, and it's sideways, it's backwards. They ain't got enough runners in front, and that's where they're missing the Philogines and the Laps and the Jack Clarks. They're sitting on the bench, just don't have enough creativity in the final third at the moment, which is very laboured.
0-0 if you're just joining us here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Forest making 6 changes from their last league game. Ipswich Town making 8. Place in the quarterfinals against Brighton at stake here. Forest defenders raising hands there, hoping to trigger an offside call, but the referee waves play on. It's worked out well for Forest as Awonye will canter after the ball here to the edge of the penalty area, up against Tuanzebe, releases it to Elanga, just outside the box, shoots, but it didn't dip. It took off slightly too high. We've seen him score them from there. But relief again for the Ipswich Town fans behind that goal. It is a goal kick to their team. It's still Nottingham Forest 0, Ipswich Town 0.
And that's the difference. The one you will stretch him behind. Hurst, the ball just come up to him and he just bounces off him. It just has to be more tighter in his control, because when you're under pressure like Ipswich are, that's where you need your centre forwards, the Hurst and Broadhead, to get on the ball and keep the ball for you. Because if not, Connor, you're going to defend for the whole 90 minutes and you're going to end up conceding. Anthony
Elanga, who's yet to score in 2025. He got 3 Premier League goals, 3 games in a row in December. Scored against Villa, Brentford and Tottenham. And he's the latest Nottingham Forest player to have a crack at goal here tonight, but 0-0 it remains. Tuanzebe at the back for Ipswich, rolls it to the right-hand side to Johnson with the orange boots. And he's got Moreno battling ahead of him, but a nice little 1-2 will send Johnson into Forest territory. He weaves his way infield. That's good play for the former West Ham man. Here is Nathan Broadhead. just pulling off his attacking role into a deeper position here, leaving George Hurst as the central striker for now. It's worked over to the right-hand side. Here comes the delivery. Broadheaded made his way up into the penalty area. Can't get a clean touch. Townsend tries to cross on the left and hits the body of Ola Aina and stays in play for Townsend to have another crack. That's a really good delivery. Hurst tried to get up off the ground and didn't quite have the spring in his lead, but his presence forced the defenders to put it out, and that's a corner to Ipswich. Midway through the first half, corner to Ipswich, still 0-0.
Yeah, it's a great ball from Connor Townsend. One thing he can deliver, but it's a brilliant defensive header from Murillo, because Hurst is at the back post, licking his lips, thinking, I can make it 1-0.
Murillo, who got his first senior call-up for Brazil ahead of the November internationals. It just shows, you know, how he's been impressing people. Here comes the corner, played in by Townsend from the left-hand side, squirted through a few players. Johnson hits it on the edge of the area, but it's cannoned away and out for a throw into Ipswich Town on the far side of the pitches. They will remain on the attack for now.
Yeah, I think there'll be a threat from set pieces. I said Ipswich are a big team. Forest managed to do it. If it comes to Ben Johnson, it's not a bad strike, to be fair. It's well defended from Danilo.
Set pieces could be Ipswich Town's best chance of making a breakthrough tonight. No Liam Delap if you missed the team news earlier on. Delap, who is on the bench, 4 goals in his last 9 Premier League games. If they've any hope of staying in the Premier League, you'd imagine it's the scoring boots of Liam Delap that could keep them up. Here is Tuanzebe on the far side to us, gives it into Morsey. Great pressure from Yates to force Sam Morsey back, and Ipswich are back inside the centre circle once again. No goals and 5 live. This is Cameron Burgess, rolls it low to the feet of Luongo. Burgess again, pressure on him that time by Singari, but they play through the press. Ipswich, Luongo to within 10 yards of the penalty area. Oh dear, after doing well to get into a good position, he launches a pass that's too high, too firm, no chance for Ben Johnson, and that's just gifting possession back to Nottingham Forest.
And that basically sums Ipswich up in the first 25 minutes. Their quality on the ball in the final first. And Luongo's a better player than that. He's usually very neat and tidy in midfield. It was a simple pass to Ben Johnson and he overhits it, and it kind of sums Ipswich up at the moment.
So Matt Sells just ready to take the goal kick away to the left-hand side. I'm sure you've seen today, Clinton, the new 8-second rule that's got to come in for
Connor,
goalkeepers.
That was in before, and it didn't work. So I hope it works this time. I hope the referee's there counting or timing it on these Casio. Is it Casio watch they wear, or is it more expensive nowadays?
Well, I mean, so if people haven't seen the story, what's going to happen is if the referees feel that the goalkeeper's held onto it too long, they will give a corner to the other team.
I like that.
I do like that, but you can just see, so when this happens, so, you know, like say it's tonight, so say Forest goalkeeper holds onto the ball, Ipswich score from a corner. Everyone there's going to be analysing, oh, but hang on, do you remember Palmer held it for 9 seconds?
That's what's going to happen,
It's going to be conspiracy theorists' dream, this is going to be.
So good luck with that, referees.
Yeah. Well, that's it. The referees are the ones I feel sorry for, because
Exactly.
at least with the semi-automatic offside, people get angry at the machine.
At the machine, it's not the referee. They'll get angry at the referee. Like, he's held it for 10 seconds and you didn't give a corner.
0-0 here at the City Crowd. It's been quite even. Forest have probably just about had the better chances, but Ipswich still very much in it. As Burgess here turns and rolls it back to the goalkeeper, Palmer. And here's the left-footed clearance. He's looking for Townsend. That's a great ball, actually, but Townsend's first touch gives it away to Aina. And then Luongo has to lunge in ahead of Callum Hudson-Odoi and put the ball out of play for a throw-in to Forest. So Aina to take. This is midway inside Ipswich Town territory. 5 live and BBC Sounds in the FA Cup. Ilanga's made a good run over from the left wing to a position on the right-hand side. Tried to knee the ball forward there, which didn't quite work out for him. Ipswich will clear it away towards George Hurst. Looked to be held onto by Morato, and the referee agrees. Free kick to Ipswich. Morato knew he wasn't going to be in any big trouble there, giving away a free kick in the opposition half, and nothing violent about it. He wasn't going to get a yellow card, but I think he knew exactly what he was doing there to stop any chance of an Ipswich counter-attack.
Yeah, it was good from Hurst, and that's what you want to do when your team's under pressure. Hold the ball, buy free kicks, and he done well. He backed into Morata. Morata couldn't get round him. In the end, ends up fouling him. So good centre-forward play.
Whenever Morato has started a game for Nottingham Forest, they have never conceded a goal, which is an interesting stat. Not that he started that many. But even when he's been on the pitch, and I think he's made 14 substitute appearances, 4 starts. When he's been on the pitch, they've only conceded 5 goals.
Wow!
So he's not first choice, Morato, but when he plays, he does help them to shut things down.
There might be a way where they can fit all 3 of them in.
Well, yeah, I'm sure Nuno would like to find a way, but Milenkovic and Murillo, it's hard to oust them given the form that they've had this season. Ipswich have possession at the moment. We've almost reached the half-hour mark at the City Ground. Morsey halfway line. Sangari breathing down at him, lumps it forward but too far in front of Ben Johnson. It's that little care and attention, the accuracy with the through balls that Ipswich need to improve on here. They work so hard to win possession, they maybe have to work a little bit harder at keeping it.
Yeah, and it's just the quality in the final third, and I know a lot of people might think I keep going on about it, but you just look, when you make a lot of changes in them front areas, it is difficult. A lot of these players haven't been playing regular football, but it's an opportunity. Go and express yourself. It's the best time to do it.
Ipswich's only attempted goal, Nathan Broadhead's header, that was in the 3rd minute, so that was 25 minutes of game time ago now. As Broadhead there tries to take it with him, but is stopped by Sangari, who's been impressive, and Danilo now just had a look up to see who was with him, and that hesitation of looking up allowed Ben Johnson to try and pounce. Johnson wasn't able to get possession away from him though. What a burst from Alanga to the byline. What a recovery by Tuanzebe. Now that was a real sprint between the two of them to the byline, and Tuanzebe sliding in, getting the last touch off Alanga, so it's not a corner to Nottingham Forest, it's an Ipswich Town goal kick.
Anyone else on the pitch, he beats him, Alanga, but Tuanzebe, he put it into second gear and turned on the afterburners. Really good defending. It's a great race though, but yeah, Tuanzebe's been one of Ipswich's best defenders this season, and he has got good pedigree coming from Man United anyway.
Yes, excellent Tuanzebe, one of the few Ipswich Town players who's had Premier League experience before this campaign, and so many of them who came all the way from the 3rd tier with this club. What a remarkable journey it's been for Ipswich, and still a chance they might get to stay in the Premier League. It won't be easy, but as we spoke about before kick-off, that suspension coming from Mateus Cunha, could that open the door if Wolves lose their best player? Certainly that doesn't make things any bit easier for Wolverhampton Wanderers.
It massively opens the door, and I'm not saying they're a one-man team, but he's the X factor. Creates, scores goals.
Header by Wolfenton on the edge of the penalty area for Ipswich. Johnson's heavy touch. He was stretching to get there in the first place. He slid into Yates, who wants a free kick from that, and the referee was right beside it, and he said no. He said the challenge was okay. Ball goes out for a throw into Ipswich Town on the far side.
This game could be won and decided by the subs, Connor. I think it could be. It's one of those where it just needs a spark to liven it up.
Forest crowd just raising the volume here in support of their team, as Ipswich bring it out for the back with Cameron Burgess. Townsend's made a good run here. Burgess has spotted him, and that's not a bad ball at all. Now Townsend crossing position on the left-hand side, but up against Ola Aina, who, as he's been doing all season, just sweeps across and puts it out for a throw-in. Throw into Ipswich, they remain on the attack, 0-0. Yeah,
good defending, because Townsend made a good run, and it's a good ball from Burgess, but as you said, all season Ola Aina's been doing that and defending ever so well.
Throw-in's been taken. This is Luongo, just outside the penalty area, left-hand side as Ipswich come forward. It's a turn by Morsey, back to Burgess, forward again to Broadhead. Danilo very close to him. Now Wolfenton inside the centre circle again. Ipswich playing right to left as we look down. Morsey has it. Low ball to the feet of Luongo, the former Australian international. He gets it back from Burgess. Now maybe a chance to break into the final third here. Townsend available outside on the left-hand side. Not much room for Townsend to manoeuvre though. He tried to flick it back into Luongo, and Aina again stretching out the leg to put it out of play, disrupting Ipswich Town's flow. Throw into the visitors on the left-hand side. This is level with the edge of the penalty area that Ipswich Town attack. 5 Live and BBC sounds from the FA Cup live at the City Ground tonight. Cross from Luongo is behind Johnson, who's going to have to sprint to try and keep this in play. Not easy. And instead of allowing it out for a throw, and he pushes it for a goal kick, which is normally what you do the other way around. You think, I don't want it to be a goal kick, I'll put it out for a throw in. But yeah, I presume he was just trying to keep it in play. Yeah, I don't know what he was doing, because you would have kept them up the pitch. Now you've made it easy for them to get out with a goal kick. So I think he had a mad rush, a mad little 5 seconds there, Ben Johnson. That's one of those decision-making moments where he's thinking, oh, hang on, what have I done? I meant to do it the other way around. Right, Murillo clears away for Forest. High, hopeful, headed backwards by Wolfenton all the way back to Alex Palmer behind. Games coming up for these two. Nottingham Forest host Manchester City here on Saturday. Then these two meet again, Ipswich and Forest, at Portman Road the following weekend. Forest welcome Manchester United here to the City Ground. That will be the first midweek in April. There is, of course, the international break coming up in March, so there aren't too many games for these clubs this month. Palmer here playing it out towards Townsend on the left-hand side. His first time header towards Broadhead, and Aina comes across with a very physical, but in the referee's opinion, fair challenge to win the ball back for Nottingham Forest. They come on the attack. Yates with a good touch to Hudson-Odoi, 10 yards on the byline, right-hand side, busy penalty area, waiting to see what he's going to do here. Gives it to the edge of the box to Sangare, back out to Hudson-Odoi again. White boots on him tonight. Strokes it cleverly into the penalty area. Yates will put it back. That was a chance for Forest, and Ipswich are mightily relieved to get it away. Broadhead with a firm touch to clear.
Yeah, you know what it is? It's good play from Hudson-Odoi.
Here come Forest again. Sangare gets it back just outside the D. Hudson-Odoi to Alanga. They're doubling up on the right wing here. Both wide players have come over to the same side. Hudson-Odoi with the back heel to Alanga. Still, they don't rush the cross. They're waiting for the perfect opportunity here. Sangare to Alanga. Then he plays it over into space on the far side. Murillo, chance to look up, but he doesn't fancy pumping it into the box. It's keep it on the deck, keep it short. Aina and Sangare exchange a few passes. This is all happening just outside the Ipswich Town penalty area. Hudson-Odoi drops his shoulder, tries to take on the defender, but gives away a free kick, and he's somehow managed to foul Luongo while Luongo was trying to tackle him, and the referee gives the free kick to Ipswich Town.
He does, but I don't know why Alanga keeps coming over to the right hand side. Stay wide. Is it because he's getting no joy out of Twanzebe and he wants to get involved in the game? You're running into Hudson-Odoi's space. Stay wide, make the pitch on wide, and keep coming over and congesting one side of the pitch. I don't know if he's been told to do that, but it's not really working for Forest because they're congesting this right hand side.
So you don't think there's a tactic of let's double up on Townsend?
Maybe they can say double up, but then if you're going to double up and get crosses in, you've got two of your wide men outside the box, and that just leaves a one-year in the box by himself, and maybe Sangara or Yates supporting.
It certainly isn't working for them so far, as Palmer takes the free kick for Ipswich Town. Jumping in the air for it was George Hurst, wins the header but can't find a teammate. Danilo with the bleach blonde hair is able to get control of it, gives it to Ola Aina on the right hand side. Aina tried to play it down the right wing for Hudson-Odoi, and it's cut out by Connor Townsend, who puts it for a throw in to Nottingham Forest, just in front of Kieran McKenna down there in the visitors' technical area. So throw into Forest. Aina will take his time over it. Gives it low to the feet of Ilanga, who again is doubling up on this near touchline along with Hudson-Odoi. It does leave a lot of open space on the far side. Let's see what Ilanga does now. Gets to the byline, sends in the cross. Moreno tried to chest it down. Danilo hits it, and it's blocked away. Good block by Luke Wolfenden in front of the goalkeeper. That was inside the 6-yard box when he made the clock.
Yeah, it was. It works this time because Hudson-Odoi played a good ball to Ilanga, and Moreno, the left back, gets in there. But good block from Wolfenden from Danilo.
But your point just stands, Clinton, because it's just Moreno and Awoniyi. You know, if you had another winger arriving too, it would certainly give them more options there. But as it is, that counts as an attempt at goal, but one that didn't reach the target because of good positioning by Wolfenden. Yeah,
Wolfenden, he done well. You got to help your goalie. I think Palmer saves it anyway, but you don't know that Wolfenden, and he defends it well, and it's a good clearance.
So Ipswich, I'm just looking at the stats, they've actually had over 70% possession over the last 15 minutes. Goes back to your point, Clinton, that Forest don't mind if the opposition have the ball as long as they contain what they do with it. And for all that possession, Matt Sells has very little to do. Certainly in this game, certainly in the last 10-15 minutes, as tussle for the ball on the far side is won by Johnson. Then a disappointing cross. That was a chance to put a bit of pressure on, but Jack Taylor almost fluffed his attempt to cross the ball in, and it could be dangerous as Ilanga comes scorching away down the far side, plays a pass in front of the teammate who was up with him, Awoniyi, but I think he's appealing there, Ilanga, that he was fouled as he played the pass. He hit it too forcefully, and it carried through to the goalkeeper.
I don't think he has to pass it. Awoniyi's made a good run, so once he's made that run, the space opens up for Ilanga. He should keep going because Twanzebe couldn't get back at him then. He had the head start on him, but I just think it was the wrong decision from Ilanga.
Forest of possession. Morato in defence. Ola Aina under a bit of pressure here, but Murillo was on hand to help him out. And they cope with problems very well, this Nottingham Forest team. They don't get flustered, even when there's a little error, a little misjudgment. They keep cool heads, and it's something that they've been doing all season, and it's propelled them to third place in the Premier League. Ipswich have possession at the moment, third from bottom in the Premier League, hoping to reach the quarterfinals of the FA Cup for the first time since the 90s. Sam Morsey on the halfway line, no challenge on him again. Forest very happy for him to have the ball there. Sangari now will make a little rush towards him as he breaks into Forest territory. This is Johnson on the far wing, looking to play a 1-2 with Jack Taylor. And Johnson's done well to get onto that again, but then a poor cross comes in really low, and it's easy pickings from Murillo.
He's been their best attacking option though, Johnson. He's causing Moreno a few problems. Maybe his final cross hasn't been good enough, but he's the one who wants to go in behind and cause Moreno a lot of problems.
Ipswich Town, who are a Premier League club themselves these days, but they haven't won an FA Cup tie against any Premier League opposition since the mid-90s. They beat Blackburn Rovers, then of the Premier League, and in the mid-90s Blackburn were a very good team. But that's the last time that Ipswich have beaten a top-flight team in the FA Cup. Here come Nottingham Forest. This is Callum Hudson-Odoi stepping into the penalty area. Right-hand side, 4 defenders in front of him. Pulls it back for Sangare. Rush of blood to the head, way too much of that, and it sails up over the crossbar.
Yeah, I think it's good defending from Ipswich, because once Hudson-Odoi gets running, he's one-on-one with Townsend. He needs help, but Burgess comes across, Alongo comes across, and he has to set it back to Sangare. He's always going to be difficult with the bodies they've got in front to beat Palmer. So it's good defending from Ipswich there.
They really did. We've just seen the replay. When Hudson-Odoi got into the penalty area there, suddenly there's 4 defenders.
Yeah.
There's no way he's going to dribble past that or even shoot past them.
No chance, because he knows he's a threat, and they know if they leave him one-on-one with Townsend, he will go past him, the form he's been in. But I thought it was really good defending. Like, you're right, 3 or 4 of the players did come across, and Sangare's shot is high and wide.
It's the voice of Clinton Morris so much in this game with us here this evening on 5 Live for the BBC and BBC Sounds. We're approaching half-time at the City Ground. Nottingham Forest 0, Ipswich Town 0. Both these teams have won the FA Cup in the past. Forest winners in 1898 and 1959. And Ipswich, who won the FA Cup during their real golden spell, the late 70s into the early 80s, they won it in 1978. You know, speaking about Forest getting into the Champions League next season, last time Forest were in the European Cup, they were in it as the holders. You know, the 80-81 season, they were the reigning European Cup holders.
People don't realise how big the club is, Nottingham Forest. It's a huge football club. Got good history as well.
And they hope that they're going to write a few more chapters. This marvellous campaign already enjoyed. And, you know, what a shrewd appointment Nuno Espirito Santo looks now. And you remember the very short spell he had at Tottenham. I reckon a lot of Tottenham fans will be wondering, should they have given him a little bit more time, as Ilanga tries to attack down the right hand side. Good time tackle by Conor Townsend, puts the ball out for a Nottingham Forest corner.
Yeah, it does. He keeps coming on this side of Ilanga. I think he wants to play on the right hand side, because he keeps coming out onto the right hand side, and him and Hudson-Odoi are combining ever so well down the right hand side. But good defending from Townsend.
Okay, Anthony Ilanga is the man placing this corner kick. Goalkeeper Alex Palmer waving his arms, doesn't want anyone to come in too close, impeding on him. Sangare and Danilo are the 2 Forest players inside the 6-yard box, most of them huddled around the penalty spot. It's played towards that area, just too high for Murillo. It'll spill out for Alex Moreno on the far side. That's a good ball back in. Sangare got up well, but the ball was just nipped away in front of him, and then the flag is raised to the far side, and when that cross came in from Moreno, Nottingham Forest were offside. So Ipswich survive again.
Yeah, they do survive. They've kind of dealt with the set pieces at the moment. It's been comfortable for Ipswich with the set pieces, apart from the Sangare header, which someone should have got on the end of.
Chris Sykes, our producer, has just pointed out to me that Cameron Burgess is limping quite visibly there, so he's picked up a knock, and that'll be of concern to Ipswich as they try to keep an eye on him.
He hasn't played a lot of football, has he? He's been in and out of the team and hasn't played a lot, so he'll want to stay out on the pitch because he'll want to impress the manager.
Yeah, he's played roughly a third only of Ipswich Town's games this season. Here's Danilo and Murillo combining together. Murillo tried another one of those little Cruyff back heels, but didn't quite come off for him that time. Here's Broadhead, Nathan Broadhead, once of Everton, coming on the charge for Ipswich, but great pressure from Sangare, climbing all over him, just about staying on the right side of the law, and there's no way forward for Nathan Broadhead there. And Broadhead and Hurst, the front 2 for Ipswich, they have been kept under very close control by the Nottingham Forest defenders in midfield so far tonight.
They probably had 10 or 15 touches between them in this first half, Conor, and that's not good enough. And maybe sometimes it's not down to them, it's down to, is their movement good enough, or are Ipswich looking forward early enough?
Well, here come Ipswich. Chance for Johnson to play it forward here. Broadhead tried to turn, but again Sangare, who's been hounding him all evening, applies the pressure. Ipswich just about hold on to it. Morsey out to the far side. Jack Taylor's out there. Johnson will stretch to the byline. He does deliver a low cross, but Murillo can clear it away. Not very far. Ball comes back in a second time. Morata this time heads it away on the edge of the 6-yard box. Ipswich don't allow Forrest to clear it away. This is one of the better spells that Ipswich have had in the game, but can they produce a shot at the end of it? Here's Burgess. This will be a test for his limp. Still not running great, but he manages to help it on to Connor Townsend here. Then back into the midfield. Broadhead gets a touch. Morsey. Forrest pressuring Ipswich all the way back to the halfway line again. Ipswich Town managed to turn it around. Luongo on the left-hand side of the midfield. Back into Morsey. They're trying to create a fulcrum position for him that everything can go through him, but at the moment Ipswich are struggling to create. Burgess still running with a limp. Has it with his left foot. Left-hand side of the back three for Ipswich Town. That's a poor touch by Luongo, and after all that spell of possession, Ipswich will be disappointed to give it away cheaply there.
And that's what I've just been saying the whole half. You said before they had 70% possession, all in the wrong areas, Connor. It's probably the centre-backs.
And Burgess, who is really struggling here, he's the player we've said has been limping. He's played a terrible back pass and he's put it out for a corner. That was nearly from the halfway line that he's put it out for a corner. Surely they've got to consider changing him.
Yeah, I think they'll give it to half-time to assess him, but you're right. He's lucky that wasn't in on goal, even though Palmer probably would have covered it, but he did hit it with some power.
Corner kick to Nottingham Forest. How they would love to break the deadlock here ahead of half-time. 5 Live at BBC Sounds in the FA Cup of the City Ground tonight, under the floodlights. It's a nice evening here, very still evening. Anthony Elanga raises his right hand in the air as he signaled to the teammates in the centre. Here it comes, low delivery, and dealt with at the front post, and that goes out right over the corner flag, and it goes out on the throw-in side. So not quite as good as the corner for Elanga here. 0-0 the scoreline, as it was when Arsenal came here in the most recent game of the City Ground. And very few 0-0 draws here. Last time there was a 0-0 draw at the City Ground before the last home game here was back in the 1990s. They don't do scoreless draws at Nottingham Forest, or very, very, very rarely. Long way to go tonight in this, and regardless, we're getting a winner one way or the other here. Ola Aina sends it in, headed on the edge of the 6-yard box. Headed out by Jack Taylor there. It's fallen for Callum Hudson-Odoi. He tries to run it back into the penalty area, but it's too congested for that. Ipswich kick it away, but only as far as Murillo. And then he sends an ambitious ball out towards the right wing, looking for Elanga, covered by Connor Townsend, who didn't have any option there other than to head the ball out of play. Throw into Nottingham Forest on the right-hand side. And Ola Aina takes it quickly, receives the ball back again from Callum Hudson-Odoi. Forest just looking to build up the tempo here and finish this first half on a high. We've got 30 seconds of normal time remaining, plus the stoppages to the break. Morata, low ball to Elanga's easily picked out by Broadhead, but I say easy to interception, not easy to hold on to it, and the ball goes out for a throw-in, and we move into stoppages, and 1 solitary minute to be added on here ahead of the break. Tomorrow, Champions League action with both Aston Villa and Arsenal involved. You can listen to commentary of both of their games here on 5 Live. Elanga can't control the ball on the edge of the Ipswich penalty area. Townsend is hoping it'll make it to the byline. He ushers it and he shepherds it, and it eventually just about trickles over. So a goal kick to Alex Palmer, away to our right-hand side. Yeah,
to be fair, it's been probably a frustrating half for Nottingham Forest. Ipswich would take that because they haven't created anything, and Forest have been the better team, but it's either that final pass or final shot hasn't been good enough from both teams in this first half. So it's been a bit of a disappointing one so far.
I mean, remarkable stats in this game to analyse, that almost 70% possession for Ipswich, but 42% of the action has been in the Ipswich final third. So they're having all the ball at the back.
I'm saying you can look at the stats, and I bet the 3 centre-backs have had the most possession of the ball, in particular Burgess and Wolfenden.
Right, there is half-time. So it's 0-0 so far. Nottingham Forest, who've had a few attempts from range, probably their best chance, a header from Ibrahim Sangare that was just wide. Ipswich have not offered much. Nathan Broadhead had a backwards header that he was hoping would tuck into the far bottom corner. That was saved by Matt Sells after 3 minutes. They haven't had a proper attempt on target since then, but as you've mentioned mentioned a few times tonight, Clinton Morrison, there are options for both teams on the bench here, and that's where the game could be win and lost.
Yeah, I think you're spot on, Connor. I think the first half's been a bit flat. Forest have been the better team and created the chances. Haven't really tested Palmer. He's done well in between the sticks. Ipswich have lacked anything going forward, so I think it could be won and lost from the substitute bench.
Yeah, it could come down to which manager wants this more. Forest, who want to stay in the Champions League places, do they risk bringing on the likes of Morgan Gibbs-White and Chris Wood and Elliot Anderson and putting extra miles on their legs ahead of the Premier League game at the weekend? And from Ipswich's point of view, do they want to bring on the Jaden Philogines and the Liam Delaps and really go for this? There's a big carrot dangling in front of them. It's Brighton in the quarter-final, and right here, right now, it could be either of these teams that go through. Half-time at the City Ground, it's scoreless. Nottingham Forest 0, Ipswich Town 0.
I tell you what, I shouldn't have joked about extra time, should I, Clinton?
No, because you're not going to be here. It's going to be me and Connor doing the extra time. But nah, I feel we will get a winner, Kel. I just feel it will probably be from one of the substitutes, because in the first half it's probably lacked hardly anything, has it? Forest looked like the most likely at the moment, and you can see Ipswich have made that much changes because they lack a cutting edge going forward.
Go down, have a word, get Chris Wood and Liam Delap on, please. That's what we need in this second half, I think.
I'll make a phone call, don't worry about that.
Thank you very much. We'll be back with Clinton and Connor for second half at the City Ground very shortly. But the good news for you, given how that first half went, is that we have plenty of other stuff to get stuck into during half-time. We're going to be talking Six Nations and hearing from Rob Green on the new law punishing goalkeepers for time wasting. That's after the 5 Live News with Jill Mackenzie.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Thank you, good evening. President Trump has criticised a summit of mostly European leaders for saying they need the US to guarantee peace in Ukraine. On social media, he said it was probably not a great statement for showing strength towards Russia. In the past half an hour, he's spoken to reporters and was asked what Ukraine's President Zelensky needs to do to restart negotiations.
Well, I just think he should be more appreciative because this country has stuck with them through thick and thin. We've given them much more than Europe, and Europe should have given more than us because, as you know, that's right there. That's the border. I'm not knocking Europe. I'm saying that they were a lot smarter than Joe Biden because Joe Biden didn't have a clue. He just gave money hand over fist.
Earlier, the Prime Minister told Parliament the US was indispensable and that the UK would never choose between either side of the Atlantic. Sir Keir Starmer also said the UK would take a leading role in the coalition of the willing to try to secure peace in Ukraine. The Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch backed his position.
At times like these, it is so important that we stand together to defend shared values and the fundamental, basic principle that aggressors should not win. The Prime Minister will have our support to do that and to ensure that we continue to uphold those values all of us in this Parliament hold dear.
Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has threatened Hamas with unimaginable consequences if it doesn't release all the Israeli hostages held in Gaza. The first phase of the ceasefire agreement ended on Saturday. With the backing of the US, Israel's come up with a new deal for the second stage and has stopped all aid into Gaza until Hamas accepts that new version. A German prosecutor says the man who drove into a crowd in Mannheim, killing 2 people, appeared to be psychologically unwell. The official said the suspect shot himself in the mouth after the incident, but was stable after medical treatment. A 40-year-old German man has been arrested. And the Vatican says Pope Francis has had 2 more breathing attacks today and has been put back on oxygen. The Pope, who's 88, is being treated in hospital for double pneumonia.
The Champions League on BBC Radio 5 Live. On Tuesday at 5:45, Club Brugge versus Aston Villa. And at 8, PSV versus Arsenal. And on Wednesday at 8, Paris Saint-Germain versus Liverpool. And hear all the analysis and reaction on the Football Daily podcast.
The Champions League.
That's your smart speaker.
To play BBC Radio 5 Live.
This is 5 Live Sport.
With Kelly Summers.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Well, it is Nottingham Forest 0, Ipswich 0 in the final FA Cup fifth round fixture. Brighton await the winner in the quarter-final. Not too much action in that first half. We're hoping for better in the second 45. Now, though, we're going to focus on the rugby and the Six Nations because it does return this weekend, as do our daily pods. All eyes on Dublin for the meeting of the top two defending champions, Ireland against France. Our correspondent Chris Jones is here. Chris, it's great to have you here on an evening where the football hasn't given us too much excitement, I should say. The rugby certainly does. This one is mouth-watering. Ireland chasing that third consecutive Six Nations crown and a place, of course, in the history books.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be great this weekend, and the build-up started now. Yeah, as you mentioned, the pod's back with daily pods all the way through to the end of the Six Nations now, and so much is going on with Ireland. Yes, we've had the Fallow Week, but we've heard about the retirements of Cian Healy, Conor Murray, Peter O'Mahony. These are greats of Irish rugby. They'll all play for the final time in the Aviva Stadium before calling time on their great Ireland careers at the end of the championship. Controversy over Gary Ringrose's ban as well. He'll be back for the Italy game, which could be a Grand Slam showdown. But if Ireland beat France, they'll be almost there. No team has ever won 3 men's Six Nations titles in a row. They're going for history. They're 3 from 3, but France stand in their way. France will be smarting after slipping up at Twickenham the other day. They took Italy apart last time out to get right back in the title hunt. And for the 4th straight year, it's really coming down to Ireland, France, these two teams, scrapping it out to be the premier side in European rugby.
Yeah, you've actually spoken to the Grand Slam winner, Donncha O'Callaghan, about the impact the retirements may have emotionally on the latest episodes of the pod. So let's listen to that.
I think there's that kind of emotional drive that's going to go into this one. I think everyone knows how big it is. The fact that it's in the Aviva as well. The warmth around the team is quite incredible at the moment, which is great to see because they've earned it. I think where Ireland and the Union have pushed away is they have changed emotional buy-in to absolutely emotional care. And I think Ireland are operating at a different level when it comes to using that secret sauce of emotion. It would have been very easy. If you look at it, you come into a squad, you look at the older guys, you probably, there's a lot of miles on the clock. Do you try to get them out? Andy Farrell hasn't done that with those 3 lads. He's actually held them up on a pedestal. He's shown what good is week in, week out. And now he's using it in a different way that that's going to drive that group for the next while. And I think if you look at the other countries and you think of the likes of Jamie George and George Ford, they're all easy things that he could have done as well. Farrell and the RFU, they could have left those guys out. That's what maybe other teams do. But this Irish team is their level of care for each other, I think, is pushed away. And of course, we would have probably been known for emotion, but they're using it totally different. They're using it early. Like, imagine using that a week before it. So you can get all the emotion done with, and then you can just concentrate on being brilliant on Saturday because you're not bringing in this emotional wave that, honestly, it's great to use, but it can be quite dangerous because it can tip you into the red. And I do think Andy Farrell, Simon Easterby, the RFU need an awful lot of kudos for how they're handling it. Also from the players themselves as well, the awareness of maybe ego, because you're right, they're all over 100 caps. They could want their moment, but to actually show how tight they are as a group,
fair.
And to walk out the door together, that like every one of them deserves, the brilliant ovation. And of course they'll get all that, but you think they'd want the curtain call one by one. They don't. They're different.
Yeah, Ireland can't call upon Gary Ringrose, who's banned this week. This one's proved pretty controversial. What's the latest, Chris?
Yeah, so Ringrose he got a 20-minute red card against Wales. He got a 6-week ban that was cut to 3. Then it goes to 2 weeks with tackle school. But one of the games that his ban covered was a URC match, a United Rugby Championship, a club rugby match between Leinster and Cardiff. And the Irish argued that Ringrose would have been released to play in that, when really Gary Ringrose never gets released to play club rugby during the Six Nations because he's one of Ireland's key players. Then you've got the French on the other hand, Kelly, the opponents this weekend, who haven't been able to have Romain Ntamack for the last couple of championship matches after his red card because they didn't count one of his club matches. And the French have voiced their displeasure at the Six Nations and at World Rugby. So we'll see if anything comes of it. The only thing that could happen maybe is the Six Nations launch an appeal against the finding of the independent disciplinary panel. But for now, Ringrose doesn't play this weekend. But because he's already served one of his matches last weekend in a game that he probably wouldn't have played in anyway. He will be back for the Six Nations / potential Grand Slam decider away in Italy next weekend. So yeah, it has proved a bit controversial, and it may just look to fire the French up a little bit. Remember, it's all about these retiring players this weekend. There'll be so much fanfare, emotion. Donica talking there on Rugby Union Weekly about the Aviva Stadium and the atmosphere, with Healy and Murray and Omani all calling it a day at the end of the Six Nations. But France are coached by Sean Edwards. He'll be looking to tap into France's emotional drivers, and trying to ruin this Irish party will be a big part of that, as well, of course, of staying in the title hunt, which France desperately want to do.
And also, Chris, is it right that Thierry Henry has been in to speak to the French squad ahead of this game? This will certainly raise a few eyebrows in Ireland because of a certain handball decision. Yeah,
that's the scourge of Irish football, yeah. Thierry Henry. You wonder if the Irish got to get Roy Keane in to go tit for tat. But no, it just all adds to the build up to this game. You know, I mentioned there's Sean Edwards, one of the French assistant coaches, who will be trying to use everything. And Fabien Galtier and the French, they're not going to let Ireland have it all their own way. They're not going to go, oh, look, let's go to the Aviva and roll over and let everyone celebrate these greats of Irish rugby who are retiring. So it all just really ramps it up. It ramps up the emotion, it ramps up the significance of the game, and ultimately there's a Six Nations title on the line. And if France win, it brings England right into the mix.
Yeah.
And if they can win on Sunday against Italy, maybe get a try bonus point, rack up some points, it could all go down to the final day. So I think we're either going to have Ireland careering towards another Grand Slam, a third straight title, or France could do a number, and then all bets are off.
What a weekend it is set up to be. Chris, thank you so much. Enjoy it all. A reminder,
Thanks, Kelly.
Ireland versus France and Scotland against Wales are live on 5 Sports Extra and BBC Sounds. That's on Saturday afternoon. Scotland-Wales will also be live on BBC Two and the iPlayer. But back to the football now, because it is a big week in the Champions League. Arsenal are in Eindhoven to take on PSV in the round of 16. We'll have commentary for you on 5 Live Sport and BBC Sounds with Ian Dennis and Chris Sutton. But with hopes of winning the Premier League all but over, Mikel Arteta has been asked what he's been doing to lift his team's spirits.
When it comes to that stage, it's about lifting the level and the standards. Every individual has to be at their best, and when we do that with the team that we have and the connection that we have between us, we are a really strong team. What is expected and the reality is very different many times, you know, and it's part of our job. You know, the moment that you have a result, it's hurting, but it has to last 24 hours, because then you have to move on and you have to face the next game and the preparation. And you cannot get away from that. That's a big quality of a coach or any player at this level, because in 3 days' time you're going to have another match. And emotionally and physically you have to be ready for it.
Clinton, it feels like the question we're going to be asking before every Arsenal match this season now in any competition. Do they have the firepower to win this one?
They do. No, I don't think they do have this. No, they don't have the firepower.
You tried, didn't you?
I tried my best to make it, but they don't have the firepower. They can still win it, but they don't have the firepower. They're just struggling at the moment to create stuff. When you're having to play Moreno as a false number 9, and it's so difficult for him. That's like asking me when I was a centre forward to go and play right back and defend it. It's a difficult skill, because what you've been brought up is playing in that same position. So it's difficult for Arsenal. I still think they've got enough to go and win it, but I just think they lack the firepower. Kelly, I don't know for the life of me why they just go and get a number 9 in the window. And they can say they weren't meant the ones they were available. You needed one. They definitely needed one.
Yeah, it feels like that's been a question for Arsenal for some time now as well, doesn't it? And the other big story in football this weekend is that IFAB approved a new law that means a goalkeeper holding the ball for more than 8 seconds will be punished with a corner being awarded to the opposition. This will first be used at the Club World Cup, which is in June. These are the thoughts of the former England keeper, Rob Green.
Back in the day, there was the 6-second rule, and there was a lot more emphasis on that. That's slowly faded away, strangely. I don't know why. I think it was enough of a deterrent if they'd actually kept it up, but they didn't seem to keep that going. So now with 8 seconds and a corner being the punishment, maybe they're thinking that the sort of punishment being a bit more lenient or a bit less of a threat might actually encourage them to get things going. But it seems a strange one to reintroduce, but if we can get more football in the 90 minutes, then all the more for it. What you don't want to have to do as a team is to go back into the defensive shape, go back into concentration mode. So I do think that there is enough of an inherent danger. Actually, as a percentage, it's down at 4% chance of actually scoring from a corner. So realistically, you know, it's not that much of a threat. But at the end of a game, the last thing your teammates want to do is defend another corner, defend a set piece if you're winning. So just get the ball up there. I feel for the outfield players, they're going to have to trudge up the pitch a bit quicker.
Keepers union from Rob Green, though he did say he felt for the outfield players as well. Connor, on this one, you have a bit of sympathy for the officials.
Yeah, I think the trouble is, it's things like the semi-automated, offsides coming in. When people get angry with that, they're going to get angry with the machine. What I worry about this is it's going to turn the spotlight back on the individual referee, because it's going to be so hard to be exact on this 8 seconds. And we all know how people love to measure everything nowadays. The toenail offsides, looking in detail. If a referee gives this against a goalkeeper, it ends up being a corner, and the team score from it. Then the supporters of that team are going to go back forensically analysing how long every goalkeeper had in every other game, and I just think it's going to turn the spotlight on the referees. I don't think they'll ever do it for 8 seconds. They'll wait until a goalkeeper is absolutely taking the mickey. Once it's 20 seconds, 25 seconds, then they'll say, it's now certainly over 8 second rule. But the referees are the one who'll bear the brunt of this.
Connor, as you can probably see in front of you, the game is about to resume for the second half. So talking you through Nottingham Forest against Ipswich, FA Cup 5th round of place in the quarter-finals, Conor McNamara and Clinton Morrison.
Thanks very much, Kelly. Yes, back underway, still 0-0 here, and Ipswich have made a double change at the break, but it's an interesting one. They've brought on 2 central defenders. Now, we told you Cameron Burgess was hobbling towards the end of the first half. Jacob Greaves and Darragh O'Shea have come on, Clinton.
Yeah, they have, and Twanzebe's come off as well. The reason I think Twanzebe's come off, I don't think it was maybe an injury. I think maybe they're looking at that game on the weekend, and maybe that was always planned to play 45 minutes because he's been a regular. But the Burgess one, I think it's definitely picked up an injury, and probably didn't want to bring on his 2 main centre-halves with a game on the weekend, but it's needs must.
Yeah, Greaves, the summer signing from Hull. Darragh O'Shea, one of those few Ipswich Town players who has played in the Premier League in the past, but at least 2 experienced players to come on here as they look to keep Nottingham Forest at bay. First half, if you weren't joining us for the commentary coverage, Ipswich had a lot of the ball, but they had it all inside their own half, and the best chances for Nottingham Forest actually came from the wide players, Hudson-Odoi and Ilanga, and Sangare, who came forward with a couple of attempts as well. Taiwo Awoniyi, who's leading the attack in place of Chris Wood, is on the bench. Awoniyi only had 5 touches of the ball in the first half. Now, you could have primed Brazilian Ronaldo up front. If you're not going to get the ball, you're not going to score.
Yeah, definitely. Only 5 touches. Well, I'm surprised at that, and I thought Forest were the better team.
Here's a chance for Ipswich, but the ball just went the wrong side of George Hurst. He was turning his body one way and the ball went into the slipstream on the other, and it was an easily mop-up for Morato to give it back to the goalkeeper. I'll give you a full run down of the teams in just a moment as this second half settles down, but Ben Johnson is on the attack for Ipswich. They're now playing from left to right towards the end where the Ipswich Town fans are housed here at the City Ground. This is Jack Taylor to the byline. He's done well to give it back to Johnson. Flashes in a dangerous cross, and Broadhead, a glancing header that just needed a little bit more purchase. It skidded off his forehead and has gone out for a throw-in on the far side.
Yeah, he never looked convincing, but it's good play down the right-hand side between Taylor and Johnson, who's been their best player. Put a good ball in the head. I just thought Broadhead was too ahead of the ball, and it was a difficult header to test Sells in the goal.
So that's the template for Ipswich. That's where they can get at Nottingham Forest, and that's where they to try and do a little bit more often now, getting the ball into those wide areas and delivering into the penalty area towards Hurst and Broadhead, who were playing as a front 2 tonight. The Nottingham Forest team then, Matt Sells is the goalkeeper, back 4 of Ola Aina, Morato, Murillo and Alex Moreno, as Johnson goes to the ground here just outside the penalty area, but the referee, who wasn't far away, says no foul, and then as Forest try and counter, Ilanga goes down, and again it's no foul and play on. Broadhead tried to nudge it into the penalty area, good interception by Ola Aina, and Aina comes across for a second time and nothing fancy, just puts it out for a throw. So the rest of the Forest team, Danilo, Sangare and Yates in the midfield, Ilanga and Hudson-Odoi in the wings, Taiwo Awoniyi leading the line in attack. For Ipswich, Alex Palmer in goal. The back 3 are now Darragh O'Shea, Luke Wolfington and Jacob Greaves. Sam Morsey, the holding player in midfield. Jack Taylor and Massimo Luongo in the middle. Johnson and Townsend are the wing backs, with Nathan Broadhead and George Hurst as the 2 forwards. As Murillo comes across, lovely touch there because he was sprinting so quickly, but then he gave it a delicate touch because close to the sideline he didn't want the ball to go out of play. That was really good from Murillo. Ipswich get it back in the midfield with Luongo. Remember, this is FA Cup football. There's a winner coming one way or the other here. Sometimes a Premier League game might peter out. You could settle for a draw. That's not the case here. Both teams, increasingly as the game goes on, may well decide to go and try and win this, knowing they've got the prize of an FA Cup quarter-final to come. Jacob Greaves has possession near the centre circle for Ipswich Town. Rolls it to the near touchline to us, to the Republic of Ireland international, Darragh O'Shea. His ball is up towards it's Jack Taylor who doesn't control with his first touch, but Ben Johnson comes across it. He's firm against Danilo to get possession for Ipswich Town, and this is a good burst by Johnson. Gets to the edge of the tee, can't force his way into the penalty area though. Morsey, Ipswich have started this second half well. Jack Taylor on the right hand side, he's got Alex Moreno in front of him, gives it back into the midfield to Morsey and back to Greaves again. Ipswich holding on to possession, but different to the first half, they're now holding it inside Nottingham Forest territory, and I'm sure that's what Kieran McKenna wants to see as Townsend tries to come in on the far side, but he's having a tough old time of it up against the class that is Ola Aina, and Forest are able to counter-attack here, and this could be trouble for Ipswich as they try to get back. Hudson-Odoi, great burst, gives it to Alanga, shoot, saved by the goalkeeper. Alex Palmer makes his biggest save of the day. The ball is still alive here for Alanga, just outside the penalty area on the left, goes to the byline, tries to hook it across. Good work initially by the first defender O'Shea, but Ipswich can't get it away. Alex Moreno tees it up here, Sangare, clever touch on the edge of the penalty area, tried to roll it into the feet of Yates. Too many bodies in the way though. This is Hudson-Odoi. It's been an all-action start to the second half here. Hudson-Odoi can't pick the pass. Ipswich should clear here, and it's Nottingham Forest 0, Ipswich Town 0.
Yeah, it's been a good start. I just see Nuno tell two of his subs, Gibbs White and Anderson, so maybe he makes two changes in midfield. He weren't happy with the start, but Hudson-Odoi is a great burst and picked out Alanga, and Alanga tried to wrong foot Palmer and give him the eyes, but it's a brilliant save from Palmer. But if this is how the second half's going to be, Connor, it's going to be much more entertaining.
Yeah, it's been a bright start, that's for sure. 0-0 it remains. Murillo for Forest to the back, gives it to Alex Moreno. Near touchline to us now. Forest playing from right to left as we look down the Garibaldi red. This is Sangare, short to the feet of Danilo. Danilo had a little look up, he had a few options there. He's brought it back onto his right foot and shoots himself. Tell you what, he got the laces through that. From almost no backlift, that was a proper shot from Danilo, but saved by Palmer.
Yeah, it's like as soon as Nuno said he subs, Forrest said, look, I better up my game, in particular Danilo, and he done well there. It was no backlift. Good shot with his weak right foot, but comfortable save from Palmer.
Danilo, who hasn't scored this season. His most recent goal was almost a year ago now, April 2024 against Wolves. And Alex Palmer, who's already had two saves to make here in the early stages of this second half. Morsey with a brave turn to elude Ryan Yates on the edge of his own penalty area. He took a risk there, but Ipswich have to take risks to try and play through the Nottingham Forest press, and Forest are pressing now. Yates in on Morsey again. Morsey under pressure, gets the pass away, turns and appeals to the referee that his arm was being pulled there. Play on. Ipswich get it up to the halfway line. Broadhead to the near touch line to Johnson. Now look at this, an expansive, real Hollywood pass there, one side to the other. Johnson onto the instep of Conor Townsend on the far side. He tries to return the cross to the centre, and Aina blocks it again. Ola Aina's been one of the best players of the game.
Yeah, he has. He's had to defend and you know what you do as a fullback? Stop the cross. And as soon as Townsend gets there, he knows he's not going to beat him. He wants half a yard to whip it. Ola Aina defends it ever so well again.
Ipswich take the throw. Luongo gives it back to Townsend. Decent cross into the middle. Johnson was the nearest to it, but Moreno was brave. It's set up for Broadhead. Fresh air shot inside the penalty area. That could have been a chance for Ipswich. Or Morsey gets it back down on the deck. This is 10 yards outside the box. Central location. Ipswich give it out to the left again to Conor Townsend. He'll turn and roll it back to the feet of Jacob Greaves. Definite improvement from Ipswich here at the start of the second half as Morsey from miles out shoots, and it's touched over by Sells. I think that was going into the top corner. That is miles out from Sam Morsey. That would have been one of the goals of the round.
It would have. What is he, about 35 yards out, Connor? He just shifts it past Sangari and at 30 yards and he just hits it. It's going into that top corner. It's a fantastic save from Sells.
He's miles out. He's as close to the centre circle there as he was to the D. And it was on target, and Sells could only just about fingertip it away. Corner to Ipswich. Can they build on this pressure they're applying early in the second half? 0-0 at 5 live at the City Ground. Corner comes in. It's bounced. It's ricocheted. It's in. The celebrations are being led by George Hurst. I don't know if he got the last touch on that, but he definitely got some touch on it. And he runs to celebrate with the Ipswich Town fans. Ipswich in the Premier League's relegation zone, but dreaming of going through to the FA Cup quarter-final tonight. George Hurst celebrates it. Nottingham Forest 0, Ipswich 1.
The story of a striker. Hasn't had a good game, but he gets his opportunity. He's the one. They don't pick him up round the back post. It's a good ball from Johnson, and he heads it. I think there's a player in front of Sells, and it kind of, I'm catching his eye line, but the header, it goes in, and sorry, I'm excited. It's George Hurst's goal, and it's 1-0 Ipswich, Connor.
Nottingham Forest 0. Ipswich Town won the goal 8 minutes into the second half. Ipswich rewarded for a strong start since the break. Headed down. Yes, it's definitely his goal, even if it does clip a defender on the goal line. And Sangare doing his best to try and keep it out, but it goes in. It is going to be George Hurst's goal. It will be his third of the campaign. 2 of them now have come in the FA Cup. He was unmarked to the back post, but he did the key thing that they always tell strikers to do. Head it down low, get it at the goalkeeper's feet. That's where they don't like to adjust to save it. And despite the number of bodies in the 6-yard box there, George Hurst has forced it through. And those Ipswich Town fans who've had such a long, hard season have something tangible to try and hold on to now. How are Forest going to react? 1-0 Ipswich in the City ground. Forest come on the attack down the left-hand side, and it's cleared away by Wolfenden. Good control by Taylor. Oh, really good as he gets it infield to Broadhead. Suddenly Ipswich have got wind in their sails. Broadhead looks to be fouled. Tries to return the ball back to Jack Taylor. Another crunching tackle comes in. It's going to be a free kick to Ipswich. Sangare there into Jack Taylor, and the referee is reaching for his pocket.
I think it's the Murata tackle that he's blown up for Connor. I thought Murata got the ball to air, to be fair, but they're saying he's a bit high, so he's going to obviously have booked him. The referee took his time, and the Ipswich player obviously wanted more. We know there's VAR, they'll be having a look at it, but he mistimes it, Murata, and it is a bit high on Taylor, so they will be looking at this.
So it is the second yellow card of the game only. Luongo was booked for Ipswich in the first half. Murata gets booked now. He slides it. Yeah, and the problem there is he slides such a long way. As he's sliding, he raises up his boots that the studs are showing almost off the ground. Now he does get the ball, but that's always going to not look good in the referee's angle. When he sees studs raised, it doesn't really matter if you get the ball. If you get the opponent as well, that's going to be deemed reckless. He's booked.
Yeah, he's booked. It's never a red card, what the Ipswich fans want, because he's definitely not trying to injure an opponent, but he is high, and that's from his tackle. So a referee makes the right decision there.
Free kick to Ipswich Town. Nottingham Forest, who've had an incredible season. But could it be that their FA Cup run is coming to a halt tonight against the team third bottom in the Premier League? Connor Townsend stands over this free kick. It's fully 20 yards outside the penalty area. He runs over it, leaves it for Ben Johnson, floats it high towards the back post, not back in. Taylor heads it towards goalbound. That's Yates on the edge of the 6-yard box, who wins a header and hurts himself in the process. Forest haven't got it away, but because Yates was down, it's a head injury, and the referees unfortunately are obligated. They have to hold up play. Them is the rules, but I know what you mean.
He got back up, Connor, so I don't know why the referee stopped it. He got back up. The referee saw him. You are right, you're spot on. If it's a head injury, you do, but he got back up, Ryan Yates. So referee, he's refed it well, though. I'm not going to give him any stick today, because he's done ever so well, the referee.
It's such a difficult one. And you see, fans will say, oh, but why did you do it for this time and not that time? I think the referee, almost like a referee in a boxing match there, because Yates got up to his feet again so quickly, that was almost the sign that, hang on, he actually might be dazed here. You know, any other player would have stayed down. He kind of got up, and then he looked a bit groggy.
Yeah, he did.
And I think that's why the referee stopped it, and it's so difficult to be consistent across, because every clash of heads will be slightly different.
100%.
But Tony Harrington there had the players' welfare. Look, Yates is fine, and that's great, but you know, you don't want to mess around with head injuries. That said, we can't have a situation where every time the ball's in the penalty area, all someone has to do is touch their head, then play has to come to a halt. So it's really tricky for the referees.
Yeah, he's done well, Tony Harrington. You've talked me out of it. He made the right decision there, Connor.
As it is, Nottingham Forest 1-0 down here are preparing to make a double change, and it's 2 of their star names, 2 of their regulars who are coming on here, Elliot Anderson and Morgan Gibbs-White. Forest, who need a goal here, or they're going out of the FA Cup. There's still a long time to go, but Ipswich have got this 1-0 lead to try and hold on to. The goal from George Hurst early in the second half here. Nottingham Forest 0, Ipswich Town 1 in the FA Cup. Winner going through to play Brighton. Throw in from Aina on the far side. Ipswich doing much better in the 50-50 challenges now. Morse here goes in on Danilo, and he's deemed to have fouled him. Free kick to Forest just inside their own half. Nuno Espirito Santo having a word with both players who are getting ready to come on. Elliot Anderson, what a good signing that's been, and I'm sure many Newcastle fans wish they hadn't gotten rid of him. He's had a wonderful season for Forest. Here comes Elanga into the penalty area, left hand side. O'Shea comes across and forcefully puts it out. Throw into Forest, attacking position down the left, and they're going to take advantage of this break in play to make the double substitution here. So we'll find out who's coming off, but it's definitely Elliot Anderson and Morgan Gibbs-White who are coming on. Danilo will be the first to make way. So Elliot Anderson into the midfield in place of the Brazilian Danilo, still working his way back to full fitness after his long injury absence. And the other change here, as the fourth official types the numbers into his board, will be Morgan Gibbs-White on in place of Sangare. So it's the two central midfielders they're replacing. Sangare has done well tonight, both in attack and defence.
Yeah, and they're players that are just coming back from injuries as well.
So Anderson, imagine that Yates might play a bit deeper now with Anderson, and Morgan Gibbs-White will have almost a free role to hover behind Awoniyi. Throw in to Forest. Can they get back on level terms here? Remember, a 1-1 draw would bring this tie into extra time. Throw in from the left-hand side from Moreno. Dealt with well by Ipswich. Taylor heads it out of the penalty area. Hudson-Odoi regains control for Forest, plays it back to the halfway line to Ola Aina. Much of Forest's success this season has been built on scoring first in games. There's only been 4 of their Premier League points this season that have come from losing positions. So as good as they've done, it's not been with battling for comebacks that has been the success for Forest this season. They have to see if they can buck that trend here tonight to try and come back in the FA Cup. It's a goal kick to Ipswich. Away to our left-hand side, and we're almost at the hour mark now.
You know what, Con? I'm not waiting any longer if I'm Nuno. I'm bringing Chris Wood on. My top goal scorer is sitting on the bench and we're losing. Yeah, Gibbs-White and Anderson's a good change, but I would have brought Wood on as well. I'm not wasting no time in getting my main striker on the pitch. Awoniyi, as you said, had 5 touches. Now they need to get that equaliser.
Still time for him to feature Chris Wood, that's for sure. Gibbs-White tries to control it at the edge of the penalty area, but Ipswich try to clear it away, and then Luongo gives it away. Ola Aina regains possession for Forest, right-hand side of the pitch as they come forward. Elliot Anderson, very classy player, really kind of comfortable body language as he tries to play a pass forward. The pass didn't actually make it through to its intended target, but Forest get it back again with Morgan Gibbs-White, and then a crunching challenge by Luongo in on Anderson, and Ipswich are rolling up their sleeves here, and they are getting stuck in to hold on to a much hard-fought 1-0 lead. They had to work so hard to get this lead. They are going to defend it with all the might they have as Greaves here on the edge of the penalty area nods it back to the goalkeeper Alex Palmer. Awoniyi is still working hard, but he's not seeing much of the ball.
Yeah, he doesn't read the game as much as probably what Chris Wood do, and you can see he's just not been playing enough football.
Townsend rolls it ahead in front of Broadhead. Now simply there's no one in the right back position for Forest, and Broadhead will come towards the penalty area. That's really good from Morato, covering for Ola Aina. He swept across, he made a very important block, and Nottingham Forest survived there. See, this is the trouble. Although we were praising Forest in the first half, we're saying Ipswich have all the ball, but it's in their own half. The trouble when you don't have possession is then your striker doesn't get to see very much of the ball, and that's what Awoniyi is suffering from at the moment.
Definitely.
But now that they're behind, can Forest switch that up a little bit? What with a ball out of play there for Murillo. What Forest have been very good, Clinton, this season is when they get in front, how good they are at shutting it down. They'll often bring on a third central defender, pull down the shutters. Game over, no more drama here. We are bringing play to a halt. Tonight they've got to do the opposite to that. They've got to chase a team who are trying to shut them down.
And it's a different test for them, and now we're going to see what they're made of, because you're right, Connor, they're usually winning football matches, and it's different now. Who's the player that's going to go and get them back into this game? I'm getting my centre forward, and you're only as good as your centre forward, and Chris Wood's been excellent this season.
Just saying, there's a few substitutes have gone to warm up. I don't see Chris Wood amongst them. Jota Silva's down there. There's that Nico Williams down with the corner flag, but I don't see Chris Wood yet. Nuno Espirito Santo still standing out on the edge of his technical area, arms folded across his chest. Throw-in is taken by Darragh O'Shea. Forest immediately get it back. Morato back to Matt Sells wearing sky blue. That doesn't quite clash with Ipswich's dark blue. And the ball's going to come back here now. Is he allowed challenge for that? Of course, he's offside.
I just think he probably wanted to stop it, Connor. Stop it and tried to stop the game.
Yeah, exactly. Because normally the players are going to make a big deliberate play of, I'm not going for this, I'm not challenging for it. But Hurst did anyway, he didn't get there, so no need to activate the offside. Forest still have possession. Nottingham Forest 0, Ipswich Town 1. This would go down, not in the annals of great FA Cup shocks, but it would be a surprise if Nottingham Forest were to crash out of the cup tonight at home, given how dominant they've been here at the City Ground all season. Poor pass from Murillo, who's been one of their best players. Sam Morsey's putting in Trojans work in the midfield. He's doing really well, as he's the man who makes the latest interception there. Forest have it at the back. Ryan Yates has dropped deeper since the arrival of Morgan Gibbs-White. He's back in between the two central defenders at the moment. Ola Aina allows the ball to travel in front of him because he knows it's going to run through to Callum Hudson-Odoi. Now Gibbs-White gets involved, plays it up to the feet of Awoniyi. Back to Gibbs-White, 10 yards outside the, maybe more like 15 yards outside the penalty area. The Forest attack, hoists it in, too close to the goalkeeper. Alex Palmer comes and makes the save, and Ipswich are doing all right now at the moment. Forest trying to up the ante, but Ipswich are keeping cool heads.
Well, we can see what the game's going to be like. Forest dominating possession and Ipswich just playing on the counter-attack, and they're not really hurting them. As I said, I can't remember when Palmer's had to make a significant save at the moment, so it's been comfortable for Ipswich.
Ipswich, who still haven't won a league game in 2025. We said it earlier on, doing well in the cup, advancing it just gives a feel-good factor around the club that, who knows, could help their league performances. Yes, there's extra miles on the clock, but at this stage, I'm sure Kieran McKenna will look for any kind of positivity. And if they could knock out Forest here, that's quite the scalp. Here is Ola Aina, out to Hudson-Odoi. It's a clever ball, back to Anderson on the edge of the area, tries to get the shot away, and it's Morsey who throws his body bravely in the way to make the block there, and the ball ricochets out for a Nottingham Forest corner. Forest still have plenty of time here, 25 minutes to go.
Yeah, they have a lot of time. It's a good pullback from Hudson-Odoi, and Anderson tries to get out of his feet, but it's Morsey again. He's been excellent for Ipswich in that midfield with a good block.
This is 5 Live and BBC Sounds, the FA Cup live from the City Ground tonight. Nottingham Forest trailing 1-0 against Ipswich Town. Forest getting ready to take a corner. Referee Tony Harrington just coming across to have a word with a few players who are jostling for position on the edge of the 6-yard box. Big Morato is up there. I wouldn't like to be man-marking him. He's an absolute giant. Darrell O'Shea's been given the responsibility as Anthony Alanga prepares to take the corner of the far side. Here it comes, a little bit low, and Morsey's the first defender, is able to head it away, and you can hear a few audible groans around the City Ground. Forest fans wanted Alanga to do better there. He might get another chance, sprints after it down the line, but the ball beats him out of play, and Ipswich get it back again. Ipswich leading by 1-0. They made 2 defensive changes at half-time, and now Kieran McKenna is about to make another double change here. He's going to bring on Jens Kajusta, and he's also going to bring on, is that Jack Clark? Yes.
Yeah, you're right, Jack Clark.
So Kajusta and Clark will come on. And Luongo, who hasn't many miles on the clock this season, is one of those going off. Kajusta will slot into the midfield in place of him. So Ipswich could be 25 minutes away from an FA Cup quarter-final, leading as they do here by 1-0, and Broadhead is the other player to come off. So Luongo and Broadhead making way, and Kajusta and Clark coming on.
Yeah, you can see that, but that's 4 subs. If Forest get an equaliser, you can't bring on Philogene and Delap. So unless it goes to extra time, can you, Connor? Because he's only allowed 5 in this. So it's a
They've
big
one
call.
More. One more in regulation.
In regulation. So yeah, it's a big call, but maybe he thinks they got enough to hold on to it.
Luongo was booked early in the game as well.
So that's a sensible decision, that is. And he's just tiring in midfield, and now Forest have brought on Gibbs-White, Anderson. They got fresh legs in midfield.
Yeah, that will be part of the deliberation now. They've taken out the bat cam, they've beamed it into the sky, no, it's not called the bat cam, what was it called? The bat signal. They put that up. In case of emergency, break glass and release Chris Wood, and he is stripped and ready to go. We mentioned we didn't see him do much of a warm-up routine. He's ready to go. He's saving all his energy from what he can do on the pitch. That is a change that is going to be made presently. Forest have got an attacking free kick here. I think they were trying to work out if they could bring him on.
Why would you not bring him on now? If I'm Chris Wood, I'm saying get me on.
I think the board isn't ready, and he's looking around. He says, come on, sure, come on, hasn't been taken yet. It's like someone, they show up late at the gate of the airport. Come on, the plane's still here, haven't taken off yet. Come on, surely you can let me on. But he's going to have to wait. Here comes the free kick from the far side, played in, headed out by Taylor. Goes back out to Alanga, who had taken the free kick. Chance for him to play it into the penalty area. Oh, he's done really well there. Yates with a header! What a delivery! What a header! Nottingham Forest are back on level terms. Just as they were about to bring on Chris Wood, they found the back of the net without it. Ipswich Town's lead didn't last very long.
He's not coming on now.
And
he sat back down.
You don't break the glass. Take down the bat signal. It's okay. Forest back on level terms. Chris Wood goes and sits down. Wow.
That's crazy. I still would have brought him on. Just give him minutes. It's still 22, 23 minutes left. It's a great ball in from Alanga. I've got to tell you about the goal. I can't tell you about Chris Wood. Brilliant ball in from Alanga. The first one was a poor free kick. It goes back onto his left foot. And Yates, Mr. Captain, who knows the club inside out, and it's poor from Johnson. Everyone else gets up, he would have been offside, but Johnson's too deep. But it's a good header from Yates, really determined header.
I think that delivery from Elanga shows his quality, because he didn't agree with the initial free kick. It came out to him, and he's a defender right in his face. That was an under duress cross, and to put it so accurately, to get the power on it from there, that was quality from Anthony Elanga. And Yates, well, he did all the rest. So 1-1. Ryan Yates' 4th goal of the season, 2 in the Premier League, 2 now in the FA Cup. And how are Ipswich going to react to this? How brittle will they be after this bruising campaign they've endured? You know, so many times in the Premier League, Ipswich have had the lead in games but haven't been able to hold on. Is it going to happen again? Elliot Anderson gives the ball away in the edge of the Ipswich Town penalty area. Oh, Ben Johnson might have cleared it away a bit quicker there. Anderson's able to get it back for Forest, and you can just see they've got the second wind now. What a touch. Gibbs wide. Moreno tries to cross. He gets a corner. Suddenly, the pendulum has swung back in Nottingham Forest's favour, and Ipswich face a huge next 10 minutes now to hang on.
They do, but he's offside there, Moreno. Gibbs White, I think he tried to play that reverse ball to Moreno. I understand his cleverness, but he just gives it to Hudson-Odoi. He's on the edge of the box. He's got a shot. Hudson-Odoi is telling him that. So trying to be over clever there, Gibbs White. But yeah, they have got momentum at the moment. It only looks like there's one team who's going to win. I did say about them Ipswich changes, Connor, I thought they were a bit too early. Both, even with the Jack Clark one.
Yeah. Long way to go if there is the prospect of extra time with just one more change to make. They would get an extra substitution slot in extra time, but Greaves here gives it back to the goalkeeper. Palmer under pressure slices his clearance. Ipswich just trying to keep it together here, but there's definitely the fear that they might be rattled. Here is Cayusta, who's come on into the midfield. He's got Townsend available wide outside him, rolls it far ahead of Townsend. That's not the pass, because Ola Aina just ate up the ground and got there first and slid in ahead of Connor Townsend. He was always going to beat Townsend in the race there. Throw in is taken to Jack Clark, who's just come on. They've got Jack Taylor and Jack Clark in the team, and George Hurst, who scored the goal. He put Ipswich in front in the 53rd minute. Forest equalised in the 68th. So Ipswich led here for a quarter of an hour at the City Ground. Johnson battles for it with Moreno. Both of them have missed it. Chance for Jack Taylor across. What a delivery in! That's so close. Headed just off target by George Hurst. That is Ipswich Town's best chance since the goal they scored.
Yeah, Moreno, he just looks like he's tiring a bit at left back. Tries to get in and nip in front of Johnson. Taylor does ever so well. He whips a good ball into the box, and Hurst just gets in front of Murata and he directs it over the crossbar. Just hits the top of the net, and he's really unlucky.
Right, so signs of life for Ipswich Town. They're not letting their heads drop now that they've conceded the equaliser. Taylor's cross, it was delicate, but it was so inviting for Hurst, and presence of the defender made it a little bit difficult, but he still got the header towards the target, if just off target. Here's Gibbs White. Oh, what a lovely surge this is. Driving on, puts it in front of Elanga into the penalty area. That was brilliant from Gibbs White. Can Elanga deliver now? Into the centre again. Darragh O'Shea jumps and thunders a header down into the ground. That means it doesn't go very far away. Elanga gets it back again on the right hand side. 1-1 here at the City Ground. 5 Live and BBC Sounds to the byline. Elanga stretching a Awoniyi. Oh, he tried to flick it in. It's one of those, he tried to flick it with his right, with his standing left, almost a backheel finish, and he's fresh-aired it. That was the chance for Awoniyi to put Forest in front.
Poor centre-forward play from Awoniyi. He doesn't even have to do that, Connor. Yeah, he does have to do it. I'm being critical, because you know why? He's gone ahead of the front post, and you're always told as a centre-forward, you don't need to go ahead of it. He could have held his ground, and then he just could see it onto his right foot. So it is a difficult skill. It's a centre-forward. If Chris Wood does that, he scores. And he's not full of confidence at the moment, Awoniyi. So he's ahead of it, so he has to do that.
He tries to do the sort of side flick,
and
back
it hits
flick.
His back leg.
Hits his standing leg.
It does.
Yeah. So it was close. As we see an earlier Elliot Anderson shot that just veered away off target as well on our replay monitors. Nottingham Forest 1, Ipswich 1. It's been a much better second half. This first half was a little cagey. It's been more open. It's been more of a cup tie here in the second half of the City Ground, and there's still 18 minutes or so of normal time to play. As it stands, going to extra time, maybe penalties if needed, to see who goes through to play Brighton in the quarter-final. Morato at the back for Forest gives it to Yates to Aina, running with long strides, and he's veered in off the touch on the right hand side, runs into Morsey though. Ipswich should clear it away, but they've not been able to. Gibbs White picks up the loose ball for Nottingham Forest. He's really been a breath of fresh air since coming on. He's injected fresh energy into this Nottingham Forest team, as they have it with Elanga on the right hand side. Two defenders standing him up just outside the penalty area. Rolls it short to Gibbs White. It'll drag back under the studs into the feet of Aina, who's standing on the edge of the penalty area. Ipswich still working hard out of possession, trying desperately to win it back here. Forest though composed. Anderson and Gibbs White have given them extra presence in the midfield. This is Moreno stretching, gets there ahead of Johnson well, and now Hudson-Odoi on the left wing will veer back inside of Johnson, who was trying to get into position. Here comes the cross off the top of the head of Cayusta and out for a corner to Forest, who now that they're back on level terms, they want to go and win this cup tie in the 90 minutes.
They don't want extra time. They've got Man City on the weekend. They need their legs. They don't see enough of the ball as it is, so they'll have a lot of defending to do in that. So they are pushing at the moment.
That is another argument for the reason of bringing on Chris Wood early, because you could say you want to rest him, but you'd much rather him play the remaining 15 minutes here rather than the whole half an hour of extra time. Elanga to take the corner. Right hand side of the pitch as Forest come forward. 1-1 of the City ground. Here it comes. Lands around the penalty spot. Murillo tries to head it on. It's going to come again, and it's in, and it's Yates, but this time he's offside. Ryan Yates thought he scored another header. He was riding on top of the goalkeeper, and when the last touch was played towards him, there was no defender between him and the goal line. Ryan Yates offside, not by a million miles, but he is off, and that goal is disallowed.
Yeah, I think it's the second header for Morata, and Yates is just standing there. Sian Massey makes a great decision on that far hand side. She puts the flag up at the right time, and yeah, it's a brilliant decision. But you can see when the ball comes in, it's the second touch from Morata. He's onside here, it's that touch, and he is offside, and great decision.
Really good decision, yeah. So Ryan Yates has already had one header count in the game. This one is going to be denied to him. Forest thought they had the lead for the first time, but that's a warning shot now for Ipswich. Can Ipswich survive here? Can they get through the 90 minutes, through all of extra time to get to a penalty shootout? Or maybe do Ipswich have to go and score themselves again if they're to reach the quarter-final? This is Wolfenden inside his own penalty area. Gives it to Dara O'Shea, closed down by a hungry Elanga. Last touch actually came off Elanga. He thought he'd even won the throw-in for his team as well as stopping O'Shea clearing. But it will be a throw-in to Ipswich. Chris Wood is down there warming up on the sidelines. Throw-in is going to be taken here on the right-hand side by O'Shea, flicked on by Hurst, down on the deck again by Murillo. 15 yards inside Ipswich Town territory, gives it low to the feet of Alex Moreno. Good little burst forward for him, but the cross is disappointing, fizzes in low, straight to the gloves of Ipswich Town goalkeeper Alex Palmer. Now he launches it early, getting it up towards George Hurst, who, as the ball was played to him, was one-on-one with Morato, but by the time the ball landed, Forest had worked hard to get plenty bodies back again. Ipswich hold on to possession, but they're back inside their own half again. Greaves, that's a good pass, up to Jack Clark, who lays it off to Morsey. Not the easiest pass for Morsey to receive, but he's done well to keep it away from Elanga. Ipswich could do with a spell in their opponent's half here, just to give their defence a bit of a breather, because it's been quite relentless from Nottingham Forest. If you're just joining our coverage, 1-1 here. Ipswich had the lead earlier. Cayusta, he's been robbed of it by Elanga. It's brilliant from Elanga. Now releasing Anderson into the penalty area, sends the ball straight at Wolfenden, who's able to clear. Forest did so well to create that chance, but they might have done better in trying to execute it. Now down the other end, Hurst against Morato. Hurst goes to the deck. Morato claims he just stood his ground. Referee agrees. No free kick, and Matt Sells is able to pick it up. Clinton.
It's end to end. Both teams don't want extra time because they both got big football matches on the weekend, so both managers and both teams would like it over in 90 minutes, but it looks like Foresters are most likely at the moment.
Yeah, into the final quarter of an hour now. This is Alex Moreno on loan from Aston Villa. Infield to Morgan Gibbs-White, plays it along the deck low and accurate to the feet of Hudson-Odoi, who turns and tries to get in behind the defender, and good recovery by Connor Townsend to get back there ahead of Elanga. Touch it to the goalkeeper, who clears away, but this is a lot of pressure that Ipswich Town's defence is under at the moment. Nottingham Forest 1, Ipswich 1 in the FA Cup. Ryan Yates has it on the halfway line. Champions League over the next couple of nights here on 5 Live. We'll have live commentaries of Villa, Arsenal and Liverpool over the next couple of nights. On Thursday we'll be in northern Spain for full coverage of Real Sociedad against Manchester United in the Europa League. Awoniyi tries to break into the box. Greaves stretches out his long leg to challenge him. Moreno goes down. Forrest with a free kick. Referee says no. In fact, he's given it the other way. And then Elliot Anderson hadn't retreated 10 as the free kick was taken, and he gets a really needless yellow card for that. Free kick to Ipswich inside their own half, and Forest are getting a bit frustrated here in their pursuit of a winning goal.
They are. I thought it was a foul on Moreno. I think the referee got it wrong, and then Sam Morsey basically kicks it out Anderson. He can't do nothing about that, but it is a yellow card by the letter of the law.
If he was to pick up another yellow and get sent off, he'll be absolutely raging about getting a yellow there, because he is too close, but he's actually moving away from the ball.
It's not like he's stopping it. Yeah, exactly.
He's not trying to. He's trying to not be to commit the offence that he's been deemed to have committed there. Right, he's looking towards his manager there, shaking his head. He knows that's a crazy yellow. Free kick to Ipswich. Now, this will be an indicator how brave they are. How many do they push forward here? Because you've that counterbalance between trying to make it 2-1 Ipswich, but also trying to ensure that they don't go 2-1 behind. It's played towards the edge of the area. Murillo, a backward header, came off the top of his head. Alex Moreno in behind. Forest haven't dealt with this very well. Morsey, flick-on header by Jack Taylor. It was difficult for Jack Clark to control. Will he get another chance here? No, the referee's going to give a free kick, this time to Forest, and a few ironic cheers and jeers from the Forest fans as this time the free kick goes their way. Nottingham Forest 1, Ipswich Town 1. George Hurst gave Ipswich the lead. Ryan Yates equalised. Yates has since had a goal disallowed. All square it remains. Throw into Nottingham Forest on the left hand side, taken by Elliot Anderson to the feet of Alex Moreno, who's challenged immediately by Jack Taylor. Pace of the second half has been good. No let up. No team wants to take a rest here. They want to drive on. Ben Johnson on the right hand side. Two players in front of him. Plays it in between the pair of them and picks out a pass to Jack Taylor. He in turn retreats it back to Dara O'Shea. Ipswich on the edge of their own penalty area. Awoniyi will charge in on the goalkeeper. And a little bit of a hesitation from Alex Palmer, but he plays a brave pass and gets it to Cayusta, who now drives up towards the halfway line. That's not a good pass though. Gives it away to Morato. A few cheers from the Forest fans as their team regains possession. Here's Awoniyi inside the penalty area. He's got Wolfenden between him and the target. Holds it up. Waits for the support to arrive. Gibbs White hits it with the outside of the right boot. Cannons away off Greaves. Ipswich defenders have been full of energy in trying to keep Forest at bay here, and they've needed to be. It's Elliot Anderson on the left hand side. 1-1 on 5 Live and BBC Sound. Yates gets it. More central position midway into Ipswich Town territory. 1-1 with 10 minutes to go now. 10 minutes until a potential extra half an hour of extra time. This is Gibbs. Well, what a clever scoop that is. Into Anderson, tried to turn. Difficult height to try and control it as he swiveled. And Forest hold on to possession, but the back outside the penalty area again. Morgan Gibbs White, left-hand side for Forest. Has him a couple. Awoniyi is in there. Ina's in there. This is Murillo. Thunder shot. And it's saved away by Palmer. What a shot from Murillo. He gave that everything. It's a corner to Nottingham Forest. It's still 1-1.
You know what I'm saying? Why the fans telling him to shoot here? But I understand why they're telling him to shoot. He gets it out of his left foot. It's a great shot. It's a good save from Palmer. He's lucky because I thought he was going to go over his head, but he manages to go out for a corner. And we do have the main man coming on now.
Yeah, here comes Chris Wood. This is the big moment. Nico Williams is going to come on as well, but it's the introduction of Wood that's going to really enthuse the crowd. Taiwo Awoniyi gets a standing ovation as he departs. He's got that protective mask over his face and his nose. And picked up that broken nose injury in the last round against Exeter. But this is what so many Forest fans have come to see. It is their goal machine. It's Chris Wood who comes on, and if anyone can force a winner in these last 10 minutes, surely it's the Kiwi for Nottingham Forest. Moreno replaced by Nico Williams. That's a straight swap, left back for left back. So Nuno Espirito Santo has bided his time, but he has now brought on Chris Wood. And the first action for Wood will to be in the penalty area for a Nottingham Forest corner kick. 18 Premier League goals this season for Wood. Ilanga rolls it short to the edge of the area to Hudson-Odoi. He shoots right-footed and hits the crossbar. That was millimetres away from perfection. He's done everything right there. Callum Hudson-Odoi, so close to giving Forest the lead.
You know what? If you watch all of Hudson-Odoi's goals this season, you could press rewind and play it, because that was how it was today. It just came into it, and once he shifted, he's trying to bend it into that far corner. And sometimes you know it's coming and you can't stop it, and he's unlucky. He hits the top of the crossbar.
Yeah, all 4 Premier League goals that he scored this season, Callum Hudson-Odoi, they've all been from outside the box. They're all like that shuffle onto the right boot, bang to the top corner. And pretty much, I looked back at it recently, actually, pretty much 3/4 of all the Premier League goals he's ever scored since joining Forest have been hit from outside the penalty area. But he didn't score there. It comes rattling off the crossbar. It's another let off for Ipswich, who are hanging on. This is Sam Morsey down the other end onto George Hurst, running across the edge of the penalty area. He claims he was fouled by Yates there, but the referee says no. Play on, ball goes out of play. Throw into Nottingham Forest on the far side, and we've now got 7 minutes of normal time to go. Nottingham Forest with possession. 1-1 of the City Ground at 5 Live. Murillo midway inside his own half to Welsh international Nico Williams. Gets it back from Gibbs White. Gives it back to Gibbs White again. This is still inside the Forest half. And Ipswich realising that they'd love to keep their opponents as high up the field as long as they can, are beginning to press higher and higher now. Williams goes for a long crossfield ball, which was misjudged by Townsend, but it actually works out okay for him because the ball bounces out of play, and that is an Ipswich Town throw-in, left wing-back position for them. 1-1. Clock ticking on. Are we going to get another half hour of extra time? Nobody heading towards the exits because they know that's a distinct possibility now. Foul on George Hurst, free kick to Ipswich just inside their own half.
Yeah, I think Kelly's right. I think we might get a bit of extra time here. I think she was praying that we did, and her wish might come true.
Well, it was a 7:30 kickoff, so extra half an hour. It's the same time we would have been if it was
anyway,
at 8 o'clock.
It doesn't matter, exactly.
Where else would you want to be?
Exactly, watching football.
Bomber comes out of the penalty area, way out of it here, within 10 yards of the halfway line to take this free kick for Ipswich. They're not really sending everyone forward though, because they know they're going to be running back any second now. Hang on, maybe an opportunity here. Oh, Hurst tries to shoot, fresh air shot, falls down for Jack Clark, and he stabs it wide. That ended up being a chance for Ipswich. It seemed to take an age, the way it bounced, for the ball to get to a height that either of them were comfortable with kicking that. But the main chance for Jack Clark, and he puts it wide.
Yeah, it's just two players that I know Hurst has got his goal, but you can just see they're not confident and they ain't scored enough goals. I think if that's the lap, he's working cells, so it's a good opportunity.
Jack Clark, who scored 2 goals in the last round, the win at Coventry. He scored the goal against, was it Bristol Rovers? They played in the 3rd round, it was. So 3 FA Cup goals for Jack Clark this season. The summer signing from Sunderland, former Leeds, Tottenham player in the past. And he's up top along with George Hurst at the moment for Ipswich Town as they try to see if they could nick a goal here and go through to the quarter-final. This is Ola Aina for Forest. Halfway line. Forest playing right to left as we look down. Gibbs White receives it. Drops his shoulder to spin away from an opponent. Eyes up, scanning the horizon. He's indicating towards Elanga he wanted him to make a better run. The ball eventually does come to Elanga. Former Manchester United man has it at his feet. Gives it short to Gibbs White. Everything's going through Forest number 10 at the moment. Good ball into Elliot Anderson. Back to Ryan Yates. Anderson again. Over 10 yards outside the penalty area. Ipswich with all 11 players back behind the box. Back behind the ball. 1-1 on 5 Live. Elanga, short ball for Anderson. Gives it back to Elanga again. Close to the touchline near side. Poor touch by Gibbs White. Gives up possession. Good work by Cayuse to get it. And then Jack Taylor plays it forward. And Clark stretching. Oh, didn't quite guide it into the path of George Hurst. He got a touch there, Clark, but it wasn't the one he needed it to be. And Ola Aina was able to intercept. But there's been a few glimmers from Ipswich just over the last few minutes that they could have a counter-attacking goal in them. 1-1.
Yeah, you're right, Connor.
Ola Aina comes forward on the right-hand side. Hudson-Odoi, just outside the penalty area. Stepping down on the gas, delivers it in low, and Greaves at the front post stretches to put it out for a Nottingham Forest corner.
This end-to-end, this second half's been much, much better. It's been much more enjoyable. Both teams going for it. I know why they're going for it even more, because they don't want extra time. As I've said it, and I've alluded to it many times, big games on the weekend, and they don't want extra time.
Forest to host Manchester City here on Saturday. Ipswich away again. They travel to Crystal Palace in the Premier League. Ipswich about to make another change here, and we've seen Forest bring on their star striker in Chris Wood. Kieran McKenna here is about to bring on Liam Delap, but not until after this quarter, which Ipswich are defending away to our left-hand side. Nottingham Forest 1, Ipswich 1. Forest yet to be in front of the tie. Here comes the delivery, flashes through them all. 2 players, there's a clash of heads in there. 2 players have gone down injured. Referee's going to have to hold this up. And even though Forest had the ball inside the penalty area, the referee obliged to hold up play. And both of them are down holding their heads, so it must have been a clash of heads.
Yeah, it looks like it. Watching the replay, I think they both collide into each other. I think one of them, it might be Greaves and it might be Murata as well. I think they both collide with each other.
So both players are still down to Ryan Yates.
Yates.
Yeah, Yates and Greaves. The way they've fallen, they're facing away from each other. They're both holding their head. It was a real huddle in there. There was a whole batch of players. It was difficult at the time to see exactly what happened. We've seen the replay here, yeah. So it's Yates, and he's doing nothing wrong here, but he propels his head backwards because he's trying to get the header. Yeah. Greaves propels his head forward, and Greaves has got the back of Yates' head into his mouth, and you can see he's got blood in his teeth as the physios and the medical staff come on to take care for both of them. So we could be set for just a little bit of a delay here while both sets of medical teams work on their players. 1-1 for the moment on the clock. There are just 2 minutes of normal time to play. There'll be stoppages, but unless someone's got a late goal in them here, we are headed towards extra time in the FA Cup and 5 Live. A reminder of what's coming up tomorrow. Aston Villa are in Bruges. They play in Belgium tomorrow. Bruges against Villa. It's a tea time game, 7:45 kickoff. Alistair Bruce Ball and Pat Nevin will be with you for that. Arsenal away at PSV. Ian Dennis will be bringing us commentary on that from 8 o'clock. So we have commentary on both Champions League games for the English clubs tomorrow. On Wednesday, Liverpool away at Paris Saint-Germain. Full commentary here on 5 Live. And then on Thursday, it's Manchester United in the Europa League. Again, it's a tea time kickoff. We'll have full commentary from northern Spain. It's Real Sociedad against Manchester United. And Chelsea are in action in the Conference League as well on Thursday. And we'll keep you up to date with how they get on in Copenhagen. Both players still down here, or certainly Greaves is still down. Yates is back up on his feet, but Greaves now getting back up to stand as well, and play will be resuming shortly. So, Clinton, if you had to put your money on it, who's going to win this cup tie? Who's going through to the quarter-final from here?
If I had to, if I was a betting man, I'd probably just say Nottingham Forest, but I didn't think Ipswich have this response that they've had in the second half. And then once it goes to extra time, which we could be heading to, you just never know, Connor. If it goes to penalties, I haven't got a clue. I can't answer that. But I think Forest will win it either in normal time or in extra time.
Yeah, Forest, who did go through the last round against Exeter. They were knocked out of the League Cup on penalties. That was the second round. They were beaten by Newcastle back early in the season. And Ipswich lost on penalties against AFC Wimbledon in the League Cup second round as well. Lost on penalties after a draw. Both teams have been on the losing side of shootouts this season, and a yellow card has been shown, I believe, to Sam Morsey.
Yeah, because he wanted to kick the ball back to them there, and the referee says no, that they had the ball here, and it's a drop ball here.
It's the whole notion of uncontested drop balls. This is certainly being contested, but it's who's the ball going to be dropped to. The referee says, and I think he's right here, let's be fair, Forest had possession when play was held up, so they get the ball from the drop, and Nico Williams receives it from Gibbs White, but the referee blows the whistle. There was a push, and it's going to be a free kick. And it's suddenly become Delap time, because Liam Delap's about to come on for Ipswich.
Yeah, he is coming on, and I think 6 minutes of added on time, Connor, so still enough time for someone to get a goal.
Here we go. So Delap is going to come on in place of George Hurst. So the Ipswich Town player who scored their goal that gave them the lead 8 minutes after half-time will not be involved for these remaining 6 minutes of stoppages, or indeed any potential extra time after that. But they're bringing on their top scorer. 10 Premier League goals this campaign, which is, no small feat for any team in the relegation zone. If you can get into double figures in the Premier League, that's the sign of a quality striker. And
it's an outstanding achievement. They don't create a lot of chances. Some of his goals he scored individually by himself. He's gave Ipswich a fighting chance of staying up, him on his own sometimes.
Liam Delap, who scored Ipswich Town's goal in their draw at Aston Villa 3 games ago, scored against Southampton last month. Can he score a goal here that could put Ipswich into an FA Cup quarter-final for the first time since the 90s? Here he is, edge of the penalty area, trying to chest it down for himself, takes a tumble inside the box. Tell you what, Ryan Yates had to be careful there. Now, credit to Delap, he's made no song and dance about that. He's just bounced back up to his feet, no complaints, but he was nudged into in the penalty area. I think a lot of people would have made it more of a song and dance about that. Here come Forest, Ola Aina down the right-hand side. We've already played 90 seconds of the 6 minutes being added on. There'll be more than that, I'm sure, by the time extra substitutes and stuff are factored in. Chance to cross on the right-hand side for Aina. Gives it back to Hudson-Odoi. Low ball into the feet of Morgan Gibbs-White. All hands on deck in defence for Ipswich as they try to keep Forest out here. 1-1 on 5 Live at BBC Sounds. Aina cutting in off the right wing. Plays it with his left foot. Too high for Chris Wood. It doesn't even challenge for it. And out it goes for a goal.
He's moaning at everyone else. He should have put the cross in first time instead of checking back onto his left foot. It's my pet hate with wingers and fullbacks that check back. Once you get into that position, you've got a centre forward who scored loads of goals. Whip the ball into the area. Don't check back. Oh, it's my pet hate as a centre forward. I just remember my arguments I used to have with my wingers and fullbacks. Oh, wow.
Your wingers and fullbacks must have loved you.
Oh, they hated me. They loved me if I scored the winner, but they hated me during the game.
As the voice of Clinton Morrison, watching this game with us here this evening at the City Ground. It's been a decent cup tie this, and we still don't know the outcome. And we are already deep into stoppage time here at the City Ground. And of course, in the old days, it might have been heading towards a replay. Tonight, we're going to get the outcome here and now. This is Ryan Yates looking for a crossfield ball in front of Hudson-Odoi, who we know is really fast, but he's not going to get to that. And out it goes for a throw into Ipswich, and almost feels like both teams are beginning to condition themselves here for another 30 minutes to play.
I'm conditioning myself, so if I am, they definitely are.
I have to say, at half-time, I did go to the little boys' room. I felt, I don't really need to go to the loo, but we could be sitting here for quite a while.
Yeah.
We're going to get rid of any nerves there ahead of time. So we're getting ready to bed in for the long haul here at the City Ground. We could have a bit of extra time, maybe even penalty drama to come here. Live on 5 Live this evening. Matt Sells clears away, right-footed up towards the halfway line. Ola Aina seemed to duck away from that. It's worked out okay for him. Hudson-Odoi picks it up behind him. Into the midfield to Elliot Anderson. Forest still inside their own half. Murillo now will come over the halfway line. Gives it short to Morgan Gibbs-White, 10 yards outside the penalty area. Cuts back on his right boot. Has a look where Chris Wood is. Doesn't fancy giving it to him. Tried to give it to Elliot Anderson, who'd made a nice darting run into the box, but it's intercepted. Ipswich can't clear, however, and Murillo gets it back again. Here's Ryan Yates. Forest goal scored tonight. Fouled by Liam Delap. Free kick. 12 yards or so outside the penalty area. Actually, I'm looking where the spray is going, more like 14 yards, so it's going to be too far out surely for a shot here. But it is an attacking free kick for Nottingham Forest as we move into the 5th minute of stoppage time at the City Ground, and it's still 1-1.
Yeah, this could be the last opportunity for Nottingham Forest and for the game, for someone to win it in normal time. But Murillo's over it, and the crowd is saying shoot. So you know what could be happening?
Come on, Murillo. Give us the big moment here. Give us the extravagant shot to win a cup game.
Well, you know what? If he's not going in the box, he must be shooting from it. And if he scores there, well, no, he's not shooting because it's
too short to run up.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, if he scores from this run up, we'll never hear the end of it. No, it is dinked into the box, not very successfully, and headed away by Townsend, out for a throw into Forest on the far side. The 6 minutes are almost up. It's going to be at the discretion of the referee, Tony Harrington, now. Throw into Nottingham Forest. This is the very last chance now to win this game in the regulation 90. And Hudson-Odoi leaves it for Ola Aina here. And immediately, as soon as Aina picked up the ball, all the Ipswich players took 2 or 3 steps backwards because they know this is coming launched into the box. He's going to take as long a run up as he can. Backs of his legs leaning against the electronic advertising board. Couple of steps up to the sideline. Throws in a really long throw past the goalkeeper. What a throw that was, the distance. But there's no one to get the touch on it. Nico Williams outside the penalty area, trying to resuscitate the move. Gibbs-White just outside the penalty area. Final whistle's going to go at any moment. Ball into the penalty area from Elanga. Bounces safely to the arms of the goalkeeper, and that could be that. It looks like we're heading towards extra time here at the City Ground as the ball goes through to Matt Sells down the other end. The referee did blow his whistle there, but it wasn't to indicate the end of the 90. He's given a free kick to Nottingham Forest on the far side.
Yeah, just get up, get on with it. You're not going down with injured, you're wasting your own team's time, and that is another final.
That's it. 1-1. 90 minutes fails to separate them, these two Premier League clubs battling for a place in the FA Cup final. It's fair to say, Kelly, this is not the result that either of them would have wanted. Of course they want to stay in the FA Cup, but neither of these teams need an extra half an hour in the legs ahead of important Premier League games to come next weekend. But it is extra time we have. This could well prove to be survival of the fittest now. For now, it's Nottingham Forest 1, Ipswich Town 1.
Yeah, Connor's summed that up brilliantly, hasn't he, Clinton? This is pretty much a nightmare scenario for both Nuno Espirito Santo and Kieran McKenna.
Yeah, it is, and I kept saying it and alluding to it in commentary. No one wants extra time. Ipswich are going to Crystal Palace, sell a spot, and Forest have Man City. They're 2 tough games, and no one really wants that. So it's a difficult one, but you've got it now. And now you get into this, Kelly, this is where you want to win. You don't want to have an extra 30 minutes where you got tired legs and you end up losing the game. So, yeah, it's going to be fascinating. But Forest are the ones that are pushing at the moment. But I think bringing on Delap, and maybe now they've got one more change, Ipswich can bring on Philogene, they might have a bit more going forward.
I tell you what, you might say that the managers and the players don't want any extra time, but I'm actually here for it. Because I was quite damning of that first half. It wasn't great, but the second half, we did get a proper game, didn't we, Connor?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, the whole mentality of the Cup instinctively came into the players in that second half, where they realised this isn't just a league game to finish level in, and it does finish 1-1 in the end, but not for the want of effort from both teams to try and go win the game. This is a difficult assignment for Ipswich, and I don't think we can state it often enough. They're third bottom in the Premier League. They're playing Nottingham Forest third in the Premier League, who are up there deservedly by being such a difficult team to beat. So for Ipswich to take the lead here tonight in this second half, that really lit the fuse. Forest did very well to get it back to 1-1. Who knows, they might have taken that 2-1 lead had Ryan Yates not been offside as the ball came to him for that close range header, and they could have got this done and dusted in the 90 minutes. But I think great credit to Ipswich, how they've brought this tie to Ipswich Town, and this is where that old adage of league form going out the window now. It's all bets off going into this 30 minutes of extra time. It's a level playing field for both of them to try and get a bit of cup magic to propel them into the quarter-final.
Well, guys, save your voices for just a few minutes, because we do have 30 minutes still to come from the City Ground. A reminder, it has ended all level there between Nottingham Forest and Ipswich Town. While we do wait for extra time to begin, though, Tony Livesey is here to tell us what he's got coming up on the show once we are eventually
do you
finished
mind?
at the City Ground.
Don't be encroaching on me.
I know, sorry. We had it yesterday with Manchester United against Fulham. It could yet go to penalties as well, so it might eat into your show. But what do you have coming up?
I get my pay deducted if you eat into my... No, I don't really. But
hopefully I get mine extended.
Yeah, exactly that. They don't, because they'll think about this, When we do get on air, we're going to talk... Well, Keir Starmer's been speaking to Parliament today about Ukraine. But even while the football's been taking place tonight, Donald Trump's been speaking again, and he's attacked Zelensky again, and he's attacked Europe as well tonight. So there's a lot to talk about there. The new rule in football that goalkeepers can only hold the ball for 8 seconds. Former referee Keith Hackett's on the show, and we've got live counting. I asked him to try to count to 8. Not as easy as you think.
No, do you know what? I thought this as well.
Yeah.
Because I think when you're told to count to 8, you always undercount.
Well, I shall keep it a mystery as to what happened to Keith, but he didn't count to 8, put it that way. So we know what's going to happen, Kelly, don't we? The crowd are going to be counting 8, 7, 7. They'll just do it automatically. So the ref's got a really tough job. So anyway, do people want that rule? I, as a fan, want that rule. I want the goalkeepers to get rid of it. Stop hogging the ball. So we'll talk about that. It's 40 years since the miners' strike ended. I've just spoke to a lovely lady from Scotland who lived through it. We'll get her account of that. Some bloke in Finland, well, no, Sibelius's grandson has done the soundscape of Finland, including a track called My Favourite Mushroom. So I've created a soundtrack of the UK, and the listeners are going to try and guess what I'm talking about. So that and and we've got a cuddle therapist on the show to talk about the art of...
Pardon?
A cuddle therapist to talk about the art of hugging.
So
it's all
that.
good. So I could have asked Keith Hackett to cuddle me instead of counting it. I don't know which one he'd rather have gone for. Anyway, all that's to come, Kelly.
But first, we've got extra time to come at the City Ground. Hopefully it doesn't eat in to your programme for too long, because I tell you what, I want to hear more about cuddle therapy. Never mind the football.
Well, that McNamara can't half talk. He'll bang on if he can.
Is Connor there?
Hey, we don't need any cuddle therapy here. I'm nestled up to Clinton
I was going to
Morrison.
say, I bet you're cuddled in.
Yeah. Can he count to 8, though? Let's see.
Well, do you know what? I think it looks like we might be around 8 seconds away from extra time getting underway at the City Ground. The fans look in fantastic voice. Nottingham Forest fans in particular looking to roar their side onto a place in the quarter-final. Brighton await. It is extra time between Nottingham Forest and Ipswich Town. Take it away, please. Conor McNamara and Clinton Morrison.
Thanks very much, Kelly. Yes, can this prove to be a famous cup night for either Nottingham Forest or Ipswich Town? 90 minutes has failed to separate them. 1-1 the score. Into extra time we go. And Ipswich are back defending the end away to our right-hand side, where all the travelling fans are housed. They've got their blue shirts, white shorts, blue socks. Forest in their traditional Garibaldi red and white. And a throw in for Nico Williams, who came on as a substitute towards the end of the 90 minutes. It was an evening that right from the start we predicted the substitutes could play a big part in, and with both Chris Wood leading the line for Forest and Liam Delap now leading the line for Ipswich, both teams have got as much firepower as they can muster in attack, as Murillo, aware that Delap is close to him, has sliced the ball off his shin pad there and put it out for a throw-in to Ipswich right hand side as they come forward. Cayusta has come across to collect the ball, and he's waved his arms to his teammates saying, get into the penalty area, I'm going to try and launch this into the box. The throw-in is level with the edge of the penalty area, There's not much room to manoeuvre out there between the advertising board and the side, but here he comes, arching his back, springing the ball in. Greaves, a tall defender, tries to get to it. It's going to come down for Delap here on the edge of the D, and he tries to turn into Hudson-Odoi. Great little swivel there by Jack Taylor, but he can't get the shot away. And Forest do really defend in numbers, how they create a block, almost like a wall on the edge of their penalty area for anyone who wants to try and shoot and to try and get it through. Ola Aina, under pressure from Jack Clark, puts it out for another throw into Ipswich. And just as Ipswich started the second half of the regular 90 minutes well, they appeared to be starting this extra time period well.
Yeah, they did, and they started the second half ever so well as well. So yeah, they are starting this extra time ever so well, and it's good. You need that. You need a start, because in the back end of that second half, it was all Forest.
Sam Morsey, you remember, was booked towards the end of the game. He's got to be careful now as the throw-in comes into the box, and Morgan Gibbs wide is there to clear the ball away. Forrest and everyone back defending it, so there's time here for Wolfenden to look up. Most of his outfield teammates ahead of him. Picks a short pass to the right-hand side. It's played into the penalty area. Greaves looking to control it. There's no room for that kind of a touch. Forrest should get it away here with Ryan Yates, but Cayusta's in to win it back for Ipswich Town. This is a good start to the to win the extra time period from Ipswich. Morsey to Townsend. His attempted cross comes off Yates, and that's a throw into Ipswich. They remain on the attack down the left. 1-1 in extra time in the FA Cup.
It is a good start, and Ipswich have started ever so. That was a chance for Greaves. If it's a centre forward, he takes a touch and he gets his shot away, but it was good defending in the end from Ola Aina.
Kayusta tucks the ball up under his shirt.
This is some throw.
To give it a wipe.
He does launch it, don't he?
He gets real distance. Let's see. Arch in the back. Throw. Might have slipped a little bit in his fingers. It still gets into the 6-yard box. Elliot Anderson jumped to get a header on that. Just about clearing the penalty area. Morsey has it for Ipswich. Lofts it high. Back into the box. Nico Williams with a header. Still a little bit of uncertainty. Still bouncing in front of the Nottingham Forest penalty area. And Jack Clark is able to pick it up for Ipswich, but he can't hold on to it. And Chris Wood, who's yet to score in the FA Cup this season, gives it out to the near touchline to Callum Hudson-Odoi. And in some respects, if Ipswich can stay high up the field, that could play into Forest's hands here. Forest love to counter-attack against teams, and Ipswich were working really hard to get back there. As soon as they knew they'd lost possession, they didn't want to give Forest any room to counter-attack into, as Wood gets involved again. Cam pass back to Ryan Yates. This is Elliot Anderson. He's got snapping away at him, Jack Taylor there, and Anderson tries to spin one over the top but puts too much on it, and that carries all the way through to Alex Palmer.
Yeah, it does, and it looks like Ipswich have started well on the front foot again, and it's like Forest needed just a bit of lift from the fans to get them going in the start of this extra time period, because they haven't started yet.
Touch from Greaves back to the goalkeeper is a little bit uncertain, and Alex Palmer does well to adapt and head it away, and Greaves nearly gave it away for a second time, but Ipswich hold on to possession. Cayusta's been good since coming on, drops a shoulder, comes over the halfway line, but he's going to lose it here, is he, to Elliot Anderson? No, somehow Ipswich still hold on to it. Clark on the left wing. Liam Delap making his way outside him. It's played infield to Sam Morsey onto his right boot, and he shoots, and it's just wide. He hit it with the outside of the right boot, trying to curl it into the bottom corner, and it's just wide of the target. Had Ipswich, who led in the regular 90 minutes, close to leading in extra time here. 1-1 it remains.
It was brilliant from Sam Morsey, but it was in slow motion. The turn was slow motion, and even the shot. But he's so unlucky. Good play from Clark, and he chops inside Yates, and he tries to bend it with the outside of his foot into that far corner to beat Sells. It was a great bit of skill. It was all in slow motion, but he's unlucky. He just doesn't get enough bend on it. I think Sells maybe have it covered.
Sam Morsey, who's only scored once this season. Here come Forest down the other end, and it's a high looping ball from Alanga that sails over the crossbar, and it's a goal kick for Ipswich. Well, the end-to-end nature that we had in the second half of the 90 minutes is continuing here into extra time. Proper cup atmosphere, proper cup game in this FA Cup 5th round tie on 5 Live at BBC Sounds. Cayusta on the edge of the D, touches it back to Wolfenden. These players who have a lot of miles on the clock already tonight, and they know there's still a lot of hard running to do. Greaves into the midfield to Jack Clark. He turns, little nibble on his ankle by Yates. That was naughty, and I'm not surprised to see the yellow card come out there. Yates made no effort to play the ball. He's tripped Clark, and he gets a yellow card.
Yeah, his usual yellow card, Yates. He's very combative in midfield, and he wears his heart on his sleeve, come through here at Nottingham Forest from a young age, and yeah, he's done ever so well again this evening, and he's the captain, leads by example.
Ryan Yates, who has scored tonight, scored in the defeat at Newcastle 8 days ago. That was the match when he made it 4-3 late on, but Forest just couldn't force the equaliser. He's now got to fall back into a defensive position. Even Chris Wood is back defending this. as Sam Morsey takes the free kick for Ipswich. He takes it short to Greaves, to the near touchline to Townsend. Back into Greaves again, 5 yards inside Nottingham Forest territory. Ipswich playing right to left as we look down. Morsey goes for an expansive crossfield ball, which does pick out Ben Johnson, but difficult one to receive, and Forest get it back again. Ilanga's given it away. Here's a chance. Taylor crosses into the box, but he's put too much on it. It's going to be controlled by Townsend outside the penalty area on the left-hand side. Delap looked to be coming from an offside position. Certainly Nuno Espirito Santo thinks so. He raised his arm there, but Sean Maciellas keeps her flag down on the far side. Play on for now. Morsey into the penalty. What a leap by Murillo. The height that he gained. It's come to Delap though. Tries to shoot. He's taken out of it, but he's released the ball to Johnson. That looked like a foul on Delap. Referee plays on for a moment, sees there's no advantage, and I think that's good refereeing. It comes back for a free kick in a shooting position. Free kick to Ipswich just outside the tee of the penalty area for the foul on Liam Delap by Murillo.
Yeah, it's very rash from Murillo. He wins the first header, and I understand what he's doing. He's trying to stop Delap from getting his shot in, but once he gets there, he's just got to stand still, and he goes in, and it's clever from Delap. He feels the contact. It's just a dangerous position for Ipswich.
And so Murillo, who is a very combative centre-half, he's full of energy, he doesn't shirk away from challenges, but he was late in any attempt to get to the ball there, and he absolutely clattered into Liam Delap, who dramatically spun onto the ground, but I don't think there was much dive there. I think he was propelled backwards by the force of the challenge from Murillo. The referee, just for an instant, allowed play to continue to see if Ben Johnson could create anything from it, and when the ball went dead, he's brought it back for this free kick. What a position this is. What an opportunity. I mean, if you were to give your choice, where do you want the free kick, you would put it exactly here. Free kick goes straight through the wall and into the arms of Matt Sells.
Yeah, it's a poor free kick from Townsend.
Yeah,
it was Townsend, wasn't it?
I think it might have been Taylor, was it?
I don't know, because it was left-footed, so I think it was Townsend. It was Connor Townsend. It was 22 that took it.
You're right.
And you're thinking to yourself, if you're left foot, it's on Sells' side. Try and go over the wall into that far corner.
Yeah, it was tame in the
Maybe
end.
it should have gone
position.
Taylor. Yep.
Brilliant position, but tame. And a comfortable save for Matt Sells, who has been beaten once tonight, but he hasn't had a lot else to do. Alex Palmer has had more of the dramatic saves to make last night tonight. And Murillo there, who gave away the free kick a moment ago, has just launched a crossfield pass too high for Ilanga. So he's just feeling a bit pent up and a bit frustrated and needs a few deep breaths down there. The clock is ticking on. We've reached the 99th minute of the game now. So we've 6 minutes to go until half-time. In extra time, if you're joining our coverage late on 5 Live this evening, George Hurst put Ipswich in front after 53 minutes. Ryan Yates equalised a quarter of an hour after that. Yates subsequently had a ball in the net again, but that one was disallowed correctly for offside. Here comes Morgan Gibbs-White for Forest, and he's one-on-one into the penalty area here, and Gibbs-White just took too long, and he allowed Wolfenden to come across and challenge, and out it goes for a throw into Forest on the right-hand side.
You're right, Connor. It opened up for Gibbs-White, and you're surprised. You're thinking just put your foot through it, but it's good defending from Wolfenden.
Good energy from Morgan Gibbs-White, who only came on as a substitute in second half of normal time, and he's got fresher legs than most of them down on the pitch as Ola Aina prepares to take this throw in from the right-hand side. It's 10 yards from the corner flag. He's got a TV cameraman right in his face here, hovering. You'll be able to see the beads of perspiration on his temple here. The camera's so close. Here it comes from Aina. That's a great delivery in. Headed out on the edge of the 6-yard box to Anderson. Takes too long over it. Clark tries to get it for Ipswich, but Murillo, tough as teak, stands his ground and regains possession for Forest and rolls it back to Matt Sells. Nottingham Forest 1. Ipswich Town 1 in the 100th minute at the City Ground, and we are still no wiser as to who's going through to play Brighton and Hove Albion in the quarter-final. Here come Forest over the halfway line, far side of the pitch from us. The left as they come forward with Nico Williams. Gives it short along the halfway line to Ryan Yates, who with his arm ushers Morato to come forward. He doesn't want him sitting quite so deep. Aina gets it on the near touchline. Short ball to Ilanga. Ipswich still working hard out of possession to try and limit the options as Morato plays a crossfield ball to Murillo, and Forest will try to come over the halfway line on the left-hand side. This is Callum Hudson-Odoi. He and Ilanga have interchanged regularly throughout the evening. He's cutting in off the left here. Low to the feet of Elliot Anderson. Digs it out back to Nico Williams again. Crossing position on the left. Sends it across. Diving header by Townsend. They're trying to pick out Chris Wood in there, but that cross was behind the Kiwi. Aina gets a touch on the edge of the box. Ipswich have been able to repel, but they've not been able to fully clear away. This is Ilanga on the right-hand side. Low ball into Morgan Gibbs-White, 10 yards outside the penalty area. Plays it in towards Wood. Snapshot of a header. How did he propel the power on from there? It's a standing position from Wood, and you don't expect him to get power, but he does, and it's just wide.
Yeah, he does. It would have been some header, Connor, to score from there. He's like just inside the box. It's a difficult header from Chris Wood, but you're right. The form he's in at the moment, he's really confident.
The neck muscles he must have from a standing position to divert the ball and get that power on it. That is very impressive.
It is. Mine wouldn't have even got that far. I think he would have P-rolled into Palmer's hands.
Yeah, we've famously seen a few headers in the top flight over the years from the edge. Remember, Luis Suarez did one for Liverpool from Mazda, but he's running onto it. I mean, this is from a standing position, propelling it. Incredible from Chris Wood, but wide of the target, and 1-1 it remains here. As Murillo makes another interception for Forest. Yates gets it down on the grass. This is Aina, short for Gibbs-White. Succession of passes from Forest, but they are still inside their own half. Gibbs-White looks up and plays a short ball to Ilanga, and still the Ipswich players in blue buzz around and make the shuttle sprints and get in close to try and upset their opponents here. Forest seeing a lot more of the ball now, though. Delap, fresh legs having recently come on, sprinting but can't make any change there as Gibbs-White comes over the halfway line, and this could be the chance. He gives it over to Hudson-Odoi onto that dangerous right boot of his, but the shot is blocked by Greaves. For a moment there, it was opening up for Hudson-Odoi. Forest looking to turn the screw now. Murillo out to Nico Williams on the left-hand side. He's running at Ben Johnson. Johnson backing away from him. Cross comes in low. Diving header away by Wolfenton. Hudson-Odoi just wide. Wrapped his foot around it. It had curled, it had bent, but agonisingly for Nottingham Forest, it goes wide, and this game stays at 1-1.
Yeah, it does. And you know when he gets into that position, you know exactly which corner he's going for, Connor, doesn't he? He's never trying to beat him on his near post, and he's really unlucky because it's hard to, execute it when the ball's unbouncing like that. And it's good technique from Hudson-Odoi.
Kerem Hudson-Odoi, who's been to FA Cup finals. He was a runner-up in 2020 and in 2021 with Chelsea in this competition. He'd love to get to Wembley with Nottingham Forest this season. We've got just over 2 minutes remaining until half-time in extra time. 1-1 it remains. 5 Live and BBC Sounds in the FA Cup. Ilanga back to Morgan Gibbs-White on the halfway line. Bit of swagger about him as he launches a really long searching ball. O'Shea kept his eye on it and heads it out for a corner. Corner to Nottingham Forest on the left-hand side.
Yeah, they've come into it now, Forest. They started off slow in this first period of extra time, but that's a great ball from Gibbs-White, but well defended from Darragh O'Shea because the ball's swirling and Hudson-Odoi would have been in there.
The ball did swirl a lot in the air there, and he had to make an adjustment as it came to him. And Darragh O'Shea, in a parallel universe, he misses that, and Hudson-Odoi is in behind him. As it is, corner to Nottingham Forest, and Ilanga slowly walks out to place the ball by the corner flag, allowing his teammates to get settled in the middle. It's really congested. There's a whole host of players right on the edge of the 6-yard box. They're all bouncing up on their toes, trying to get space. We've already had goals from corners in this game. Let's see what happens here. Ilanga plays it in towards the far stick, ever so slightly too high, and it sails over the ball and out for an Ipswich Town goal kick, and we are into the 104th minute now.
Yeah, he just overhits it, Ilanga. Or we could say someone should have been really going around the back post to lock it out. And Ipswich have defended the corners really well so far.
Champions League football coming up over the next couple of nights here on 5 Live. It all begins with tea time kickoff tomorrow in Bruges. Bruges against Aston Villa. Can Unai Emery's European adventure continue for this season? Later on tomorrow, Arsenal in PSV. You can listen to both games on 5 Live. On Wednesday, we'll bring you Liverpool at Paris Saint-Germain. The Champions League really kicking in. Different format for the group stage this season, but it's into the knockout stages that we are all very familiar with, the two-legged games now, which tend to bring up such drama over the years, and it's the last 16 stage for those English clubs left in the competition. Yates, low ball to Chris Wood, trying to prod it out towards Hudson-Odoi, but that's intercepted by Conor Townsend. Morsey does some good hard work in the midfield, and then stretching Jack Taylor doesn't quite get it there for Ben Johnson, so Forest will regain possession, and here comes Nico Williams. Really good pace. Johnson working so hard to keep up with him. Williams to within a few yards of the penalty area. Back to Morgan Gibbs-White, who thunders a shot from distance, but he thunders it way over the top, and there goes the whistle. It's half-time in extra time. time, and it's still 1-1 here, and they've both given it a good go there in those 15 minutes since the end of the regulation 90, Kelly. 1-1 for now.
Yeah, I think what I learned from watching that first half of extra time, Clinton, is that neither side wanted to go to penalties.
No, they don't. They've been like that for the whole second half, to be fair, and there'll be another 15 minutes where both teams will be going for it again and trying to get. And I think Forest shooting to their home fans. They're always good shooting to their home fans. So yeah, it will be difficult for Ipswich. But Ipswich look a threat. The first few minutes of that extra time, Kelly, they look the most likely at the moment. But I think we could have the dreaded penalties, Connor.
We could. Oh, you say I
love it, but dreaded for them.
I feel we've come this far. We might as well have the drama of the shootout.
We want it, but I'm more dreaded. Yeah, I just want it. I'm talking about for them, Kelly, because you're always the one person who don't want to miss the penalty. But for me, now I'm retired. I love penalties.
Yeah, the only players who like the shootouts are the goalkeepers, because they won't get blamed, but it's a huge chance to be a hero. But I do. I mean, I'll show my Irishness now. I remember as a young kid watching Italia 90, being allowed to stay up really late. And do you remember David Platt? Of course you do. Scored that late. I was disgusted. I was like, we've waited for the penalties and you've taken away. There's no penalties. That still hurts.
Brilliant.
All jokes aside, if we do look at the game overall, I've seen real positives for Ipswich going forward. Regardless of what happens now, it does feel like Kieran McKenna can take quite a lot from this. Yeah,
he can, and especially making that much changes as well. They've defended well. That's the one thing I've been critical of Ipswich. They're defending in the Premier League too open, too expansive, and they get caught out loads of times, but they have defended really well, and they've been a threat going forward. I think they still can have more going forward, but defensively they've been really good this evening.
I'm just looking at the two sets of players, and from what I'm seeing from the television pictures that I am watching here, Connor, it looks like quite a different approach from both managers there. It looked like Kieran McKenna really pulled his side in, whereas Nuno kind of didn't leave his side to it. Hold on a sec. That was the referee blowing his whistle, wasn't he? So
no, you're okay. He's just telling them to get on with it, but it'll be another few seconds. Yeah, look, I think that's very Nuno. I mean, you'll know better than me, but he's a very relaxed character, isn't he? He keeps it all, maybe on the inside he's got the fire, whatever, but his public persona is calm, relaxed, and I think that's what he's trying to feed into the players there. But, I think the day when we see him ranting and raving, that'll be a shock, because that'll probably mean things aren't going well.
As I did say that, he did kind of pull them in and have a stern-looking word, because he probably said, guys, don't put us through the drama of penalties. Let's get this done. And that's what we're going to do now, isn't it? The second half of extra time. Clinton Morrison and Conor McNamara.
Yes, Nuno Espirito Santo, who in his playing days was a goalkeeper, so he might be part of the union that sees the glory in penalty shootouts. And it's always great penalties when you win them, aren't they? It's a great idea when you win, and when you lose, you want new ways to decide the outcome of games. But this is the manner of cup football. One way or the other, we're going to get a victor here, and they have another 15 minutes of game time for either of them to make the breakthrough, or else it will be a penalty shootout, as there was in the Bournemouth game over the weekend, as there was at Old Trafford yesterday. There could be another FA Cup fifth round penalty shootout coming here, but let's see if Ipswich Town and Nottingham Forest can get a goal to win this from open play before all of that, Bent.
Yeah, they're hoping. I think Jota's looking like he might be coming on, but it's probably be for one of the wide men, because they put a lot of work in, and as we say, in another big game on the weekend, we're going to have to work hard, where they don't have the ball a lot of times. But yeah, Forest will be pushing to try and score this and winner in this extra time, that's for sure.
Yes, this FA Cup competition, which is opening up with a different narrative than usual. So much of the regular contenders have already been eliminated, and if you take Manchester City out of the equation, any of the other teams, they've either never won the FA Cup before, or they haven't won it for decades and decades and decades. And there's clubs like Fulham, Palace, Brighton, Bournemouth in there who've never won the FA Cup. You've got Preston, who haven't won it since the 30s. Aston Villa and Forest haven't won it since the 50s. Ipswich Town, 1978. There could be a very unlikely name on the FA Cup this season. Who knows, it could be one of the two teams we're watching here. Elanga crossing from the left-hand side into the penalty area. Greaves gets his header on it. He's done well, Greaves, since coming on as a substitute in the game, and Forest regained possession, but they're back closer to the halfway line than they are to the Ipswich Town penalty area.
No, you're right, Greaves has done well. He's defended really well, him and O'Shea. But you know, when that list of teams you read out there, Connor, it'd be really good if Palace won it, wouldn't it?
says Crystal Palace's Clinton Morris. I think it would be very good if Crystal Palace. I'd have no objection to that at all. Here comes Nico Williams, crosses low. What a great delivery that was, but no one on the end of it. Chris Wood was a fraction behind, and he turns and he waves an acknowledgement to Williams to say, what a great ball that was. I should have been on it.
That's a great ball in. Hudson-Odoi should be probably coming in at the back post, and another midfielder, maybe a Gibbs White should be, but Gibbs White's a talented individual, just needs to get into the box more and put a few more goals to his name, because he's a fantastic player.
I mentioned Crystal Palace, who have come close, they've been to finals, just haven't been able to get it over the line in the past. Forest here looking to attack down the right hand side. Callum Hudson-Odoi, Aina behind him, lofts it towards Chris Wood, but beating him in the air was Luke Wolfenden. Ryan Yates works really hard to get it back for Forest, and they remain on the attack here. Aina, good ball in, but Greaves in front of Chris Wood again. And you know, the defenders are just one of them in front of Wood, one of them beside Wood, one of them in front. They're just not allowing him any space when the crosses come in.
No, they're not. They've defended excellent, Ipswich this evening, really good.
But one lack of concentration and it could be all over. Here's Hudson-Odoi, tries to cross to the right hand side. There's appeals for a handball. Did strike Conor Townsend, but it looked like his hands were down by his side as Liam Delap canters down the other end, and he's got away from Morato, and Murillo's trying to get back now. Delap goes down on the edge of the penalty area, and the referee says play on. Nottingham Forest mightily breathe of relief there. Delap gets back to his feet, arms outstretched. He's appealing. The referee was emphatic. Tony Harrington didn't give it a second glance. He waved his arms. He said, no penalty for Liam Delap.
To be fair, he's in a good position, Tony Harrington, and Liam Delap's not complaining, so maybe he tried to buy it, and there was no touch from Murillo. So credit to the referee. I'm thinking to myself, why are you going down in that position, really and truly, because you could have got on the end of it. It was a great run, but I think the referee makes the decision, and if he has done that, he should have booked him then.
Yes.
It's a yellow card.
Well, I think the implication, but we haven't seen the replay yet, that maybe Delap forced, hang on a sec, mistake here in the back for Ipswich. Ooh, they get away with it. They almost gave the ball away in the edge of their own penalty area. Cayusta's back there now. He should clear, and he does, left-footed. For Delap there, it was almost like he caused the collision, played the ball, and as he did so, he kept his foot going out to collide with the defender. You see, to me, it's not a dive, though, so I wouldn't book him.
No, it's not a dive. It's clever centre-forward play. He's left the leg in because he's trying to be clever,
Yeah. Jota Silva's getting ready to come on for Forest. 1-1 it remains. 110 minutes played at the City Ground. Ball is launched in. Gibbs White coming to attack that one. Darrow Shea swoops in ahead of him and heads it out of play on the far side for another throw into Nottingham Forest. And there's no time to waste now. They take it quickly. In for a penny, in for a pound. They know they've got to go through the full 120 minutes tonight, so they might as well give it everything now. Ola Aina tries to cross on the right. It's blocked away off Jack Clark, and that goes for a throw into Forest again. They've had so many of these on the right-hand side. Right, here comes the change, and it's going to be Jota Silva coming on in place of Anthony Elanga. Elanga's had a good game tonight. He's been very involved throughout, but it's the fresh legs and maybe at this stage the fresh ideas as much as anything else for Jota Silva to come on.
Yeah, I can understand. He's put a hell of a shift in Elanga. Done ever so well on the wing.
Jota Silva, who started the last round at Exeter, you know, most of his appearances for Forest have been off the bench. 4 Premier League starts this season. He's come on as a sub 20 times, so he's used to this situation, coming on in a game and trying to see it through for Nottingham Forest. 1-1 for the moment. Here comes the latest throw in. Aina on the far side. Ipswich appeal. It was a foul throw. Referee says no. Anderson plays it into the penalty area. Too low. Jota Silva with the first touch. Can't spin as he controlled it. And then Clark has done really well with the little Maradona round the world attempt. And outnumbered, he eventually gives up possession, but he didn't give it up without a battle. Forest get it back. Gibbs White on the far side. Low to the feet of Ola Aina. Gives it back to Gibbs White again. You can see the respect from his teammates whenever he's nearby. If he's available, Forest players give it to Gibbs White. Anderson tried the little back heel there. That didn't work. Nico Williams holds on to possession though. Murillo has it. Turns, rolls it back to Morato again. The clock ticks on. 111 minutes played at the City Ground. Played by Morato to Aina on the far side. Ipswich seeing less possession now. Was that breakaway chance for Liam Delap their big opportunity to win this ahead of penalty kicks? Conor Townsend battles on the far side. Down his legs must be screaming in pain here. He's worked so hard tonight, a player who's had very few miles on the clock this season, but he's done well enough to win the free kick there. Free kick to Ipswich Town, and I'm sure they'll try and take a little breather here and let the seconds drift by as long as they dare before taking this free kick.
Yeah, he just wanted contact from Yates, and Yates gave him contact, and it is a foul.
So, goalkeepers come way out of his penalty area to take. Alex Palmer. 114th minute at the City Ground. Goals tonight from George Hurst and Ryan Yates, both of them headers. Ipswich Town goalkeeper Palmer here launches it forward directly towards the edge of the Forest penalty area. Murillo, who's got such a wonderful jumping technique, he's not the tallest central defender you've ever seen, but he springs so well. He's landed awkwardly there actually, and Murillo is down hurt. It's not a head injury, so play continues. Nuno Espirito Santos come on the pitch here. He wants play to be held up, but it's not going to be. Ben Johnson plays on for Ipswich, effectively playing against 10 men at the moment. This is Dara O'Shea, crossing position on the right, sends it in towards Liam Delap, but Morato wins a big header here. Forest need to get the ball out of play so Murillo can get some treatment, and Chris Wood is trying to do that, but Greaves has kept it in on the far side, and then the referee blows his whistle, and I'm not sure if they said the ball has got out of play or whether it's a free kick, but one way or the other play comes to a halt, and they can check to see if Murillo is okay. And after all that, he doesn't need treatment, but he does seem to have jarred something. Whatever way he landed, he's not walking comfortably.
No, he kind of stretching his arms like he might have had a wind by the way he's landed, and maybe a bit winded, so hopefully he's alright, because he's so key to Nottingham Forest.
Looks like he's going to be okay. Made a tough stuff for Murillo. We're just seeing the replay. It's just the way he landed,
and he gets it in his ribs as well, so that's what it is. It's a contact. Taylor just catches him.
Right, Murillo happy to play on. He's in possession at the moment, showing no ill effects as he breaks into a sprint immediately and comes charging over the halfway line, and he plays a ball that nearly fell through the slipstream for Nico Williams, but good defending by Wolfenden, who's had a good game actually tonight. Repels that latest Nottingham Forest attack away. Right, we've got 6.5 minutes until penalties. This is Morgan Gibbs-White for Forest. Good ball into the penalty area. Hudson-Odoi back to Jota Silva, snapshot just wide. Cross the face of goal and wide.
Yeah, good play between Gibbs-White and Hudson-Odoi. Hudson-Odoi, can he pick the right pass? Yes, he can, to Jota Silva, and it's always kind of going away from Palmer, the shot, the left foot shot. It's good play though.
Jota Silva, who got his first ever Premier League goal against Brighton, that recent 7-0 game at the start of February. Brighton are the team who are awaiting the winner of this tie in the quarter-final. Goal kick for Alex Palmer, away to our left-hand side as we edge ever closer to a penalty shootout to decide this FA Cup fifth round tie. 1-1 for now. Palmer sends it long into the Nottingham Forest half. Yates rises to win the header for Forest. Comes down for Jack Taylor. Scoops one forward, but no teammate on his wavelength. No one had gambled on getting on that, and sort of frustrated wave of the arm from Taylor to say, come on, that was a good ball. Someone should have been on it. Yates for Forest. Over to the far side to Ola Aina. His direct ball is looking for Chris Wood here, cut out by Jacob Greaves. Chris Wood has been man-marked by 2, usually 3 players every time Forest come forward. Hudson-Odoi has it, 10 yards outside the penalty area. Left-hand side, puts his studs to bring the ball to an actual stop. Then he rolls it on to Nico Williams. Williams on the left wing, having a look up, wearing the gloves tonight. Rolls it back, safe pass to Elaine Anderson. Anderson gives it to Hudson-Odoi. Now into the penalty area. Williams tries the cut back, good block by Cayusta, and then a good slide by Johnson to get there ahead of Morgan Gibbs-White. Ipswich have it, right full back position. They need to get rid here. Oh, Dara O'Shea's giving it straight to Callum Hudson-Odoi. That should have been a better clearance. Low cross into the penalty area, and sliding back there was Cayusta to put it out for a throw in to Nottingham Forest. 4 minutes 40 seconds remaining until the end of extra time.
Would there be a winner, Connor? That is the big question.
I think when you've got Chris Wood,
you've always got a chance.
Either of them, they just need one chance. They only need a half chance. Hudson-Odoi. Tired minds, tired legs. Will there be a mistake? Here it comes. Hudson-Odoi, great delivery. Good headed down by O'Shea. Following up Murillo. He's thundered a shot into the back of the head of Ryan Yates. His own teammate has stopped him there as Delap comes on the charge down the other end. He gives it out to Jack Clark on the left wing. Ipswich survived a scare there. They're now trying to create something at the other end. Clark is fouled. Free kick to Ipswich midway inside the Nottingham Forest half.
Let me tell you something. I think that Murillo shot's going to burst the net. It was a great strike with his right foot, and we'll have to watch again who blocked it, but the block was fantastic. It's bravery.
I know he scored already this season. He scored against Newcastle in November. I really hope I'm here at the City Ground the day one of those long-range thunderbolts goes in, because it'll...
If I'm doing a commentary, I'll probably have to run down and celebrate with him for 5 minutes. It'll take me about 10 minutes to get back up.
It's a glorious sight, the way he transfers the power and the energy into the shot. Here comes the Ipswich free kick. Oh, it's disappointing. It sails over the wall. Townsend had to do better there. They've had so few attacking set-piece opportunities, and he's wasted that one. Sails over the top, out harmlessly for a goal kick to Nottingham Forest, and the clock reaches 117 minutes.
It's frustrating, especially when the centre halves are coming up and they've had to defend it. It's a poor free kick from Townsend. Watching the replay there, Connor, you know who blocked his shot? Ryan Yates.
Yes.
He blocks his shot. He apologises to him after as well.
That'll sting. There's Matt Sells takes the goal kick for Nottingham Forest. Yates here battles on in the midfield, but he's handled it. As he controlled the ball there, he's adjudged to have handled it. And Ipswich get another free kick. This is inside the centre circle, just in the Forest end of the field. 1-1, 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Late in extra time now. Penalties looming. Townsend's going to take the free kick, and he'll be demanding of himself that he does better than last time. Delap is a target up there. Greaves is a target up there. O'Shea has got up. This is what I love about cup football. There's no point staying back. Give it everything to try and win it. Townsend lofts it high and hopeful. Was that a foul on Greaves on the edge of the box? It's gone the other way. So Greaves must have fouled Wood first. Wood retaliated with a push of his own, but the referee spotted the first one and has given the free kick to Nottingham Forest. That's 2 late set pieces for Ipswich that they haven't been able to create anything with.
Yeah, it's disappointing. Yeah, Greaves does pull Wood. Wood gets goal side of him, and there is a slight pull, but it's disappointing because that's where you got to be a threat. Ipswich, they haven't had much of the ball, but from set pieces, have to be a threat.
Right, 90 seconds of extra time remaining. There may be a small bit added on for stoppages, but we haven't had much delays at all. Here is Callum Hudson-Odoi, challenged immediately by Wolfenton. Ball goes out of play for a Nottingham Forest throw. Left-hand side as they come forward. Hudson-Odoi takes it quickly to Nico Williams. Can someone pull a rabbit out of a hat here? Can someone grab the headlines? Around us all the written journos furiously tapping away on their laptops. They'll have a certain narrative to tell. It might be about to change as the ball comes in from Hudson-Odoi, and it's shoveled away by Wolfenton for a Nottingham Forest corner in the 120th minute of the game. Corner for Elliot Anderson. They've all gone forward. Matt Sells up around the halfway line. Everyone else for Forest up around the penalty area. Murillo lurking towards the back post. Morato trying to get some space. It's played in towards the back stick, but a really poor, tired delivery from Elliot Anderson. It lands on the roof of the net. Ipswich might have wasted a set piece late on, but Forest have certainly wasted one there. 1-1.
They have, and he shouldn't even be tired because he's a sub that's come on. He hasn't played nearly the whole 120 minutes. Just a poor set piece from someone who's a talented individual. And over the last 2 or 3 set pieces we've seen from both teams, they've been poor, haven't they, Connor?
So it could be penalties looming. Morgan Gibbs White, who had a penalty saved in a championship playoff semi-final in his Sheffield United days. That was against Nottingham Forest 3 years ago. Chris Wood, who has scored every Premier League penalty he's ever taken. He's already scored a penalty against Ipswich this season. We've got 1 minute of stoppages being added on here at the end of extra time. 1 minute for either of these teams to score a goal to book their place in the quarter-final. The clearance from the goalkeeper Palmer went straight to Anderson, but he couldn't control. Jack Taylor challenges for it in the air, but the loose ball is cleared away by Morato. High and hopeful, launched into the Ipswich half of the pitch. Wolfenton wins the header. Oh, it rather roughly came into the back of Gibbs White there, and then Yates tried to feed a through ball into the path of Chris Wood, and it would have got there if it hadn't been intercepted by Jacob Greaves, and the ball goes out of play for a throw in, and Williams is trying to take it for the wrong position, and the referee tells him to take a step back, and Forest get the ball back in play again, and we're running out of seconds here now. Did that go out of play? Right in front of Nuno Espirito Santo. It's going to be a throw into Ipswich. Some players are down with cramp on the pitch after 120 minutes of action here at the City Ground tonight, and we scan around, the 360 panorama of the stadium, and no one's making their way towards the exit. No one's got an early bus to catch. No one's got Scoot in the morning, because we've got a penalty shootout to come as the final whistle blows after 120 minutes. Failed to separate Forest and Ipswich. 1-1 Kelly is how it's ended, and it's penalties that'll decide who goes through.
Connor, was that you attempting for all Nottinghamshire and Ipswich schools to not have to let children go in?
No, but the reason to leave early, we got to go because we've school tomorrow. No, we don't. We're staying to the bitter end. It's a story to tell your classmates in the morning.
It certainly is. I do feel for those Ipswich fans that have to get back home this evening. But we've come this far. We wanted penalties in the end, didn't we, Clinton?
course we did. You definitely wanted it at the start of the play because you even said it. So yeah, you've got it. Me and Connor have got it. Everyone's happy. And it depends which fans go home happy. But yeah, I think after both teams have put in all this effort and stuff like that, I think penalties is probably the best way to decide it. And there's going to be a hero and there's going to be a villain.
Clinton, let's jog your memory. Were you the hero? Were you the villain in your playing days when you were in this scenario?
In everything I do, I'm always the hero.
That was the most predictable answer of any question I have ever asked.
But there you go. I'm never a villain. I'm always the good guy and the peacemaker.
All right, take me back. Yeah. Take me into the minds of these Forest, of these Ipswich players, how they'll be feeling right now.
No, what the managers will say is who fancies a penalty. Usually they have their penalty takers, but if you've played 120 minutes, sometimes you might, as a player, put your hand up and say, I don't really fancy taking one.
Does that actually happen?
I think it does happen. I've been in dressing rooms where people have said, I don't want to take it. I'm looked at you and said, are you all right? You've got to take it. You're the penalty taker. He's like, I just don't feel in the right frame of mind. But I think times have changed, and I think all the penalty takers will put their hand up and say, I want to take it. But I always say, Kelly, don't leave your best one to the fifth because he wants to score the winner. Put your best one first and get you off to a good start.
Did you ever say, no, I don't want to take it, Gaffer?
No, I always said, Gaffer, can I take the fifth one? Because you know why? The fifth one's usually always the winning penalty. I want to be the hero. I just said that, hero status.
That won't surprise Connor, having spent the evening sat next to you either. I'm sure
he knows me, Connor. He knows me well.
If you do a car journey with Clinton, it's Mariah Carey, it's all the hero songs. Hold it out for a hero.
Connor, have you got the commentator's grid ready for penalties?
The commentator's grid has been hastily prepared here. We are scribbling. We are ready to go. This is drama, and look, it's agonising if you're a fan of either team. It's a horrible way to lose a cup competition, but for any neutrals listening in, you can't beat the drama of a cup penalty shootout. Already this weekend we've had Bournemouth winning 5-4 on penalties against Wolves. Yesterday at Old Trafford, Fulham winning 4-3 on penalties against Manchester United. The early penalties in that shootout I watched on the television, they were all of a real high quality. But I think when that happens, that only just puts more and more pressure on those who come afterwards.
This is a big thing. You know, when you're flipping the coin to see who takes the first penalty and which end you do it.
I tell you what, Connor, talk us through it now. This is where the drama begins, isn't it? This is the coin toss. The players are in the centre circle. This is what it all comes down to. A place in the quarterfinals is up for grabs. Brighton awaits. Is it going to be Nottingham Forest or Ipswich Town who win on penalties? Clinton Morrison and Conor McNamara.
Right, the two captains have had their little coin toss with the referee. Forest have been able to choose the end, so it's down the opposite end from where the Ipswich fans are housed. They're going to have a long distance view at this. And the two goalkeepers prepared to walk down this long 50-yard or so walk from the halfway line down to the goal mouth. Just looking at Matt Sells, who's got a white towel in his hand, and Alex Palmer, who's been really good since joining Ipswich in January from West Brom. And stepping up first for Nottingham Forest is Chris Wood. He takes that long, lonely walk on his own, leaving his teammates behind him in the centre circle. But Chris Wood, a player with such a successful penalty record in his career. Every Premier League penalty he's ever taken, he's scored. 3 of them have been awarded to Forest in the top flight this season. He scored them all. He scored home and away against Brighton, scored from the spot against Ipswich already. Chris Wood, the first to take the penalty here as the hush descends over the City ground. The respective backroom staffs and substitutes of both teams are in their own little huddles, arms over shoulders in the technical areas. The players inside the centre. This seems a long wait to get things going here. Chris Wood has placed the ball, and a bit of mind games, I think, from the goalkeeper, Alex Palmer, fussing with a bottle or something, just making Chris Wood wait a little bit longer. And then the referee reminds the keeper he's got to stay on his goal line, and Palmer reaches up and touches the crossbar, stretches out his back leaning against it, then he pushes up onto the bar to make it wobble. Anything at all that might distract Chris Wood here and might force a mistake. Here we go, penalty shootout live, 5 Live from the BBC. Forest against Ipswich Town, the first kick to be taken by Chris Wood, number 11 on his back. Here he comes, right-footed, bang into the back of the net. The keeper went the right right way, but when it's struck that firmly, it doesn't matter. And Nottingham Forest lead in the shootout by 1-0.
Was he ever going to miss, Connor? Not really. His penalty's fantastic. The goalkeeper goes the right way, and that's how good Chris Wood's penalty. He just whips it into that far corner. When it hits that side netting, goalkeepers have no chance.
Now you can tell a different audio background to this, because the hush and the reverence afforded to Chris Wood becomes boos and jeers for Sam Morsey as he makes his way forward to take the first Ipswich Town penalty. Morsey, the captain, who plays with his heart in his sleeve all season long, this tough campaign for Ipswich Town. He's given it everything, and he has taken the responsibility of stepping up for this first penalty kick for the visitor. Look at the Forest fans behind the goal, waving arms to try and put him off. Morsey scores, sent it the same way that Chris Wood did. The keeper went the other way. Celebrations from Morsey. It's 1-1 in the shootout.
Yeah, it's a great penalty from Sam Morsey. The Sells goes one way and he just whips it into the other corner. It's a hard penalty because the Forest fans were putting him off, but he's been good in midfield for them this evening, Sam Morsey.
1-1. Step forward. Morgan Gibbs White came on as a substitute towards the end of the regulation 90 minutes. Scored a penalty. I mentioned, of course, that he had a penalty saved against Forest in that famous championship playoff semi-final a few years back. Here at the City Ground, socks rolled down low on his legs. He places the ball with extra care. He seemed to take a long time there over the deliberate action of placing the ball, and it's going to be a very short run-up from Morgan Gibbs White. This is 2.5 paces away from the ball, up against Alex Palmer, and he stands motionless, and the hands are directly down by his side, and he still waits. And now he comes, a jittery run. Gibbs White tucks it in the corner. What a penalty. The goalkeeper chose the right side, but it's into the inside of the side netting. It's a brilliant penalty. Hit so well by Gibbs White, and Forest lead 2-1 in the spot kicks.
Yeah, he looked nervous. It's the first time I've seen Gibbs White, but you know what? Goalkeeper goes the right way, but he puts it right into that side netting. Side foot finish, confident penalty, but I did think he was nervous because he took his time. Liam
Delap comes forward for Ipswich Town, their top scorer this season, but a man who has never scored an FA Cup goal. He will come forward to take what is Ipswich Town's second penalty, hoping to make it 2-2 in the shootout. Again, the Forest fans behind the goal, waving their arms, trying to distract him, a bit like Gibbs White. It's a very short run up. Delap, low into the bottom corner, strikes it, clean and true. 4 high-quality penalties and 2-2 in the shootout. No one's made an error yet.
Yeah, it's a big penalty from Delap. He's confident. He just drives it, gets his head down, no stuttering up, just picks his spot. Really good penalty. The penalties have been good so far, Connor.
Excellent penalties. Elliot Anderson steps forward, got his first ever Premier League goal recently against Southampton. A player who has been involved in almost all of Forest's Premier League games this season. I think he's only missed one. And he places this penalty with good care and attention, and this is where the nerves ratchet up another level. The tension bites around the City Ground on the banks of the River Trent. All eyes on Elliot Anderson. 2-2 in the shootout. Number 8 on his back, stands upright, one last deep breath, hits it low in the bottom corner. It's another virtually unsavable spot kick. They've been really good. Forest lead 3-2.
Could be here all night, Connor. The standard of the penalties are brilliant. Elliot Anderson, he knows where he wants to go and just hits it with conviction right into that side netting.
As I said, watching at Old Trafford yesterday, when the early penalties are this good, anyone who steps up now is thinking, oh dear, I hope I'm going to reach those levels. Kai Eustace coming up for Ipswich.
Yeah, you are nervous because the standard's been so good.
Jens Kai Eustace will step forward, the Swedish midfielder. Places the ball carefully on the spot, stands upright. Matt Sells is bouncing up and down a bit on his goal line. He didn't do this for the other spot kicks. Here comes Cayusta, straight down the middle. Goalkeeper dived. It's a very relaxed penalty. Talk about smooth body language there. Yeah. As Cayusta barely even celebrated, he turned around. Yeah, all in a day's work. Of course I scored. And he walks back towards the halfway line. 3-3.
Everyone else celebrated. He said, I do that every day. Yeah. That's nothing to me. It was a really good penalty from Cayusta, though. Sells hasn't got near one penalty, where Palmer has been the closest to get them.
Chris Wood has scored. Morgan Gibbs White has scored. Anderson, those are the 3 for Forest. Morsi Delapka used to scored for Ipswich, and now Nico Williams, the Welsh international, steps forward. He scored the decisive spot kick in the shootout against Exeter in the last round. Here he comes, the Welshman, right-footed, into the back of the net, walloped home again, sent the keeper the wrong way, and he punches the air in celebration, the relief of a spot kick taker who does his job and finds the back of the net. 4-3 now to Nottingham Forest.
No, Connor, all these penalties have been top draw. That is probably one of the best ones I've seen from Nico Williams. What a penalty this is. Big pressure now on Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson steps forward. Can his penalties match the level that we have seen already? Turned 25 in January, summer free signing from West Ham United, yet to score a goal for Ipswich. Here's his penalty, wow! Puts it high to the left and into the back of the net. Sells went to the right side, but it was over him. He took it really well. It was all about accuracy from Ben Johnson there. It's 4-4 in this faultless shootout so far.
What a penalty that is, by the way, because I'm looking and thinking, ooh, do I fancy Ben Johnson? And he shut me up because they're great penalty. He just whips it into that bottom corner. Huge pressure now.
This is the fifth kick. So up until now, these are the guys who expected to take one. After this, it'll be those who didn't want to be in the first five, who were looking to shirk a bit of the responsibility. But for now, it's Callum Hudson-Odoi who comes forward. It's going to be a right-footed spot kick. He's taking a very short run up. Here it comes, right-footed, and he sends the keeper the wrong way again. 5-4. We've had 9 penalties taken. We've had 9 penalties scored. And in effect, this is now become sudden death already. Yeah. Because if Jack Taylor doesn't score here, it's all over and Ipswich are out. Yeah. Because 5 successful spot kicks for Forest, Ipswich have got to match them.
You're right. And you know, if Hudson-Odoi had missed that, I know the family ever so well, he would have got a message straight away from me as we left the ground. So he's lucky he did score, but big pressure for Taylor.
Jack Taylor to keep Ipswich in it. Started the match. 2 goals this season. Got the late winner against Wolves in December. Here he comes. Saved! Went bottom right. Saved by Mats Sells. The goalkeeper, who's had the most clean sheets in the Premier League this season, runs off in celebration to the halfway line. Jack Taylor is consoled by his teammates, but there's only been 1 kick missed, and it's so costly because it's Nottingham Forest who are through to the quarter-finals of the FA Cup as a rocking City crowd celebrates.
Yeah, it's so sad, and credit all these Ipswich teammates. It goes up to him. You never want to be the one, Taylor, who misses the penalty, but it was probably the worst penalty out of a lot of them. He kind of telegraphed it, but huge credit to Sells. He goes the right way, but I always say that there's always a hero and a villain, and you feel sorry for Taylor, but great save from Sells.
Nuno Espirito Santo, a huge beaming smile on his face, goes running down the tunnel. Great scenes of celebration here in what frankly is becoming a fairy tale season at the City crowd. You've got to go back to the heady days of Brian Clough for the sort of excitement, the giddiness, how carried away justifiably Nottingham Forest fans are becoming, because they have their eyes on the Champions League for next season, and they're not going to fear anyone in the FA Cup either.
No, don't talk. And when we talk about the FA Cup and people say, oh, people play weakened teams and they don't care about it, this is still the best cup competition there is out there, and you can see what it meant to these Nottingham Forest players, and also what it meant to these Ipswich players of losing it after playing 120 minutes. So really good FA Cup title.
Celebrations for Forest. Condolences to Ipswich, who go over to applaud in front of their supporters. Their hope of FA Cup glory is gone, and the extra time tonight could well be damaging towards their attempts to stay in the Premier League. They need to dig deep into their reserves tonight, but the story this evening is not Ipswich, brave as they've been. The story is Nottingham Forest on a roller coaster a season that they're not reaching for the handbrake yet. They are thoroughly enjoying it, and they can't wait to see where this campaign brings them next. It took penalties, but they got the job done. Nottingham Forest have beaten Ipswich Town. They are in to play Brighton in the quarter-final of the FA Cup.